Good morning, my dear friend. The world is still half asleep. Wrapped in the hush of dawn, the horizon is painted in faint gold. The air tastes pure and quiet, and every breath feels like a secret between heaven and earth. In this early stillness, before the noise begins, your heart may already be awake, searching for something words can hardly name. Maybe you woke up earlier than usual, not because of an alarm, because something inside you would not let you sleep, a restlessness, a whisper, a longing that refuses silence. Some mornings come like that, do not they? The mind heavy with thoughts that did not find rest in the night, the chest tight with worries that have no easy solution. Perhaps you are thinking about a broken relationship, a medical report that changed the rhythm of your days, or a financial burden that feels too heavy to carry alone. Maybe you are mourning someone whose absence echoes louder when the world is quiet. You have smiled for others, said I am fine, but deep down, you know the ache still breathes beneath the surface. You are not alone in this feeling. There was once a woman who felt the same weight. Every night she tried to pray, but her words sounded hollow. One morning, long before the sun rose, she sat by her kitchen window and simply whispered, "If you are there, I can't do this by myself anymore." She did not plan the moment. It found her. The silence around her was not empty, it was alive. Within days, the phone call she had waited for came. A debt she could not pay was forgiven, and her heart that had felt like dry ground began to soften. She later said it was not the miracle that changed her, but the surrender that invited the miracle to come. Something sacred happens when the soul stops running and begins to listen. This is the mystery of the morning hour. Before the city stirs, before the voices of the day rise, heaven seems closer, not in distance, but in attention. The early light has a way of revealing both the shadows within us and the hope beyond them. In that thin space between darkness and sunrise, prayers carry a different weight. The ancients called it the hour of visitation, the time when angels listen and destinies turn quietly in the hands of grace. It is as if creation itself holds its breath, waiting for hearts to speak. You and I are invited into that space not as spectators, but as participants in something far larger than ourselves. The next 24 chapters of prayer are not a performance or a routine. They are a journey through the landscapes of the soul, from weariness to wonder, from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith. Each chapter is a step into conversation with the one who shaped the dawn itself. These are not empty words. They are doors, opening one by one into deeper trust, healing, and peace. So take a slow breath now. Let your shoulders drop. Let the quiet reach you. You do not need to have perfect faith to begin. You only need a willing heart. This morning is not an accident, it is an appointment. The same God who painted the sky in light is waiting to paint your heart in hope. Whatever you bring, the questions, the anger, the silence, it all belongs here. You do not have to understand everything to be understood. As you prepare to enter the first prayer, imagine yourself standing at the edge of the new day. The sky is widening. The first birds are singing, and something unseen is already shifting in the atmosphere. The long night is over, though it may not feel like it yet. This is your sacred threshold, the place where despair turns into dialogue, where pain becomes prayer, and where prayer becomes power. All you need to do is step forward, open your heart, and begin. Now, let the journey of morning prayer unfold. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning feels quiet in a way words can't describe. The air is still, the light faint, and my heart trembles between weariness and wonder. I come to you as I am, without trying to be strong, without pretending to understand everything that has happened. I come because I need you more than I need answers. I come because I have felt the weight of nights that were too long, and I can no longer carry the silence alone. You see me. Even now, sitting in the hush of dawn, you see the exhaustion behind my eyes, the thoughts that never seem to rest, the memories that press against my chest. I open my hands to you and let go of what I cannot hold. The world is still half asleep, but I sense something awakening inside me. A flicker of hope, small yet stubborn, begins to rise like the first trace of sunlight breaking through gray clouds. Maybe this is what faith feels like at the beginning, not loud or certain, but steady in its longing. I am tired of fighting unseen battles on my own. I am tired of trying to be enough. So here, in this still hour, I surrender the illusion of control. I surrender the idea that I must fix everything. I surrender the fear that whispers, I am too broken for redemption. You, Lord, are not far. You are nearer than the breath that fills my lungs. You lean close when the world is quiet. You speak softly where fear once shouted. You are the calm that meets my chaos. I ask you now to enter the hidden corners of my soul, the places I have kept locked for too long. Wash them in your mercy. Bring light into the rooms where shadows have lived for years. Teach me to rest in your presence, not as a guest afraid to stay, but as a child who belongs. There are wounds I no longer know how to talk about. They live beneath layers of strength and silence. Sometimes they ache without reason. Sometimes they bleed when touched by memory. I do not know how to heal them, but I believe you do. So I lay them down before you now. The disappointments that hardened my hope, the grief that changed how I breathe, the mistakes that echo in my thoughts, the fear that I will never be enough. You see them all. And still, you call me beloved. I have heard that word before, but this morning I want to believe it. I want to feel it sink past the surface, into the places where shame once ruled. If faith is a seed, let it find soil in me today. Let it take root in the cracks of my heart. Let it grow even when I doubt. I have spent too long defining myself by what went wrong, by what I lost, by who left, by what I failed to become. But you see beyond that story. You see a beginning where I saw an ending. You see life waiting under ashes. You see strength inside surrender. Help me see it too. Help me rise, not by my own will, but by your grace lifting me from within. The morning light outside my window is changing. The dark edges of night are softening, and I know that even this simple rhythm, the turning of the earth, the coming of dawn, is a reminder that nothing stays buried forever. Every night, no matter how long, eventually meets its morning. Maybe that is why you call us to pray in these hours, because the world is being remade, and you invite us to be remade with it. I want to be part of that renewal. Father, I want to walk into this day, not carrying the weight of yesterday, but clothed in new mercy. Teach me to listen more than I speak. Teach me to wait without losing heart. Teach me to recognize the small ways you show up in the light across the floor, in the voice of someone kind, in the quiet courage to begin again. I do not ask for perfection. I ask for presence. Let your nearness be the first thing I feel when I wake, and the last thing I forget when the day grows loud. If I stumble today, remind me that grace does not leave. If I grow anxious, whisper peace into my pulse. If I start to lose hope, remind me of this morning, the way darkness gave way to light, the way silence made space for prayer. Let every sunrise remind me that you are not finished with me yet. You, Lord, are the steady rhythm beneath my uncertainty. You are the whisper that keeps me breathing when I want to give up. You are the reason I can face another day. And even though I cannot see the full picture, I will trust that you are painting something beautiful from the broken pieces. I choose to believe that this morning is not just another beginning, it is a continuation of your promise, the quiet unfolding of something sacred. So here I am, heart open, soul awake, waiting for what you will do. Let this be the hour where fear loosens its grip and hope takes its place. Let this be the morning when I remember who I am in you, loved, chosen, seen. And as light fills the sky, let it also fill me. Let it touch every weary part, every doubtful corner, every forgotten dream. I want to begin again, not in my strength, but in yours. Father, this is my first breath of the day, my first thought, my first offering. Take it and make it holy. Take this moment and make it alive. Take this heart, trembling yet willing, and shape it into something that reflects your peace. The morning is yours. And now, so am I. Father, as the new light stretches quietly across the sky, I remain here with you, still aware of the silence that began to move inside me in the first prayer. Something gentle has shifted, like a door opening in the unseen. The air feels alive with possibility, and my heart senses that this hour is not an ordinary one. It is as though creation itself pauses to listen. The birds have not yet started to sing. Yet there is a hum of expectancy in the atmosphere, a whisper that tells me heaven leans close when the earth is still. Father, I can feel that you are drawing me higher, calling me to stand at the watchtower of dawn, to look beyond what my eyes can see, and to listen for what my spirit already knows. Last night's fears have not completely faded, but they no longer have the same power. The darkness that once felt endless is now thin and fragile against the growing light. I understand now that the night was not wasted. It was preparation. The silence that felt so heavy was the soil where faith began to take root. And now, as the morning deepens, I realize that every breath is a kind of prayer, every heartbeat a reminder that you are not far. You invite me to watch, to wait, to stand awake while others sleep. You whisper that these early hours belong to you, that they are gates through which blessing enters the world. Father, I step into this moment not as a bystander, but as one chosen to witness the turning of time. Between darkness and day, you are writing stories unseen. You are rearranging destinies, healing hearts, and releasing new strength into weary souls. I want to be awake to that. I do not want to rush past the sacredness of this hour. I want to stand in it fully, to let its holiness wash over me, to recognize that this is the womb of the new day where life begins to form again. Let me not treat these moments as routine. Let me remember that when I rise before dawn to seek you, heaven opens in response. As I stand here, Father, I feel the weight of stillness pressing softly against me, asking me to listen rather than speak. I hear the rhythm of my own breathing, the pulse of creation aligning with your will. It is in this rhythm that my worries begin to lose shape. The fear that kept me restless now feels smaller, weaker. I realize that the battles I feared were not mine alone to fight. You have already gone ahead of me. You have stationed angels in the unseen places. You have written victories into the fabric of this morning. The sky itself becomes a sign of your faithfulness, its slow brightening, a quiet promise that light always returns. I lift my eyes, Father, and I picture this watchtower not made of stone but of trust. It is built from every small yes I have given you, every moment I chose to pray instead of despair, every time I believed even when I could not see. I stand upon those yeses now, higher than my fears, closer to your heart. From here, I can see farther, not because the world has changed, but because my spirit has. I can sense hope stirring like wind through tall grass. I can feel courage rising, quiet but certain, ready to face the day. There is something holy about this watch. It is not about doing more or saying the right words. It is about being fully awake to the truth that you are near. The early hours are not empty spaces. They are filled with your presence. They are portals where heaven and earth meet, where the invisible becomes tangible for those willing to wait. Father, I want to live in that awareness, not only now but through the hours ahead. Let this early intimacy linger as I move into the noise of the day. Let me carry the fragrance of this stillness wherever I go, so that even in crowded places, my soul remembers this quiet place of meeting. Teach me to guard my heart like a watchman guards a city. Teach me to discern the movements of fear and not mistake them for truth. Teach me to notice when you nudge my spirit toward prayer in the middle of ordinary moments. Let me be alert to your presence the way the sky is alert to the first light. Let every thought become a signal of where you are leading. Let my attention become my offering. Father, I sense you asking me to trust the unseen, to wait without panic, to listen without forcing answers. Waiting has never been easy for me, but maybe waiting with you is not emptiness at all, it is preparation. Alignment, faith being refined. In this watchtower, I am learning that peace is not the absence of battle, but the confidence of knowing who stands with me in the midst of it. I do not need to know what comes next. I only need to know that you are here. The first rays of sunlight are touching the edges of the world now, and I feel as though they are touching the edges of my heart, too. They remind me that every new day is a declaration from heaven that I have another chance to begin again, to love better, to see with new eyes. Father, Let this dawn be more than light. Let it be revelation. Show me what you are forming in this hour. Show me what you are awakening within me. Give me eyes to see the miracles that hide in small beginnings. As the world slowly stirs awake, I stand here in this sacred pause, thankful for the silence that teaches me to listen, for the light that teaches me to see, for your patience that teaches me to trust. I may not know what this day holds, but I know who holds me. I know that every prayer whispered in the quiet finds its way to your heart. I know that every watchful moment builds a bridge between my longing and your promise. Father, keep me awake in spirit even when my body grows tired. Keep me faithful in small things, steady in waiting, and open to your leading. Let me rise into this day with clarity and calm, with the understanding that I am never abandoned, never unseen. The dawn is not just happening around me. It is happening within me, and as it unfolds, I will stand watch, heart lifted, eyes open, waiting for what you will speak next. Father, I come again as the morning deepens, still feeling the quiet strength that began to form in the watchtower of dawn. The world outside is waking, but my heart remains in this sacred stillness with you. The soft light now fills the room, yet inside me there are corners still dim, places I have tried to hide even from myself. Father, you know them already. You see the thoughts I try to silence, the fears I disguise with a smile, the questions that never seem to fade. You are not surprised by the weight I carry, and you do not turn away from it. You invite me to bring it all into the open, not to be judged, but to be healed. So here I am, Father, standing between what I show the world and what only you can see. I have tried to be brave in my own strength. I have tried to fix what was broken, to outrun the ache, to pretend that time alone could mend what still bleeds in secret. But time without your touch only teaches me how to hide better. Today, I do not want to hide anymore. I want to be real before you, even if it means being undone. I want to let every wall fall, every defense crumble, every mask dissolve until there is nothing left but truth. You call me to honesty, not because you need to hear my pain, but because I need to release it. My heart has been a container for too many unspoken things, anger I never confessed, sorrow I never named, guilt I never laid down. These things have shaped how I see myself, how I trust others, how I approach you. I bring them now, one by one, not as excuses but as offerings. You have said that a broken and contrite heart you will not despise. So I bring mine. It is cracked and trembling, but I know you can make beauty from what I call failure. Father, there are wounds I received when I was too young to understand, words that planted doubt deep in me. There are regrets that cling like shadows, moments when I turned away from what was right because fear was louder than faith. There are memories I replay as if I could change them, but they remain the same until I surrender them to you. I surrender them now. Every loss, every betrayal, every secret disappointment, I lay them at your feet. Let your mercy flow into each one, like water finding the lowest place. Let forgiveness wash away the bitterness that has taken root. I know forgiveness is not forgetting. It is releasing. It is letting go of the right to stay angry, the right to punish, the right to hold on to pain as proof that I was wronged. But Father, can T do that without you? The human heart clings to its scars as if they are identity. Help me believe that who I am is not what was done to me, but who I am becoming through your grace. Heal me in the deep places, the ones that never found words. Let your compassion reach there, soft and steady, until even my silence feels seen. Sometimes I have been the one who hurt others. I have spoken carelessly, withdrawn when love was needed, withheld kindness because I was afraid to be misunderstood. Father, forgive me. Forgive the moments when pride spoke louder than humility, when self-protection cost me connection. Forgive me for measuring myself against others instead of looking to you for worth. I do not want to live guarded anymore. I want to live surrendered, unguarded, but held. The more I speak, the more I realize how much I have carried. The more I confess, the lighter I become. It is as if each word opens a window in my soul, and light begins to enter where there was none. I can feel the air change around me, the weight lifting slowly. There is no condemnation here, only clarity. I begin to understand that repentance is not punishment. It is release. It is returning home to the place I never should have left your presence. Father, let your peace now fill the spaces where guilt once lived. Let joy find its way back into the corners where sorrow had settled. Let me breathe again without the heaviness of pretending. I am tired of trying to earn what you freely give. I am tired of chasing perfection when you only asked for surrender. I give up the chase now. I give up the need to prove that I am worthy of love. Your love is not earned, it is received. So I open my heart like a window at sunrise and let it pour in. Teach me how to live from this place of honesty. When I am tempted to hide again, remind me of this moment when shame tries to return. Remind me that I am already forgiven. When my past tries to whisper lies about my future, silence it with truth. I am not the sum of my failures. I am the evidence of your mercy. Let that be the story that shapes me from this day forward. The morning light has grown brighter now, stretching across the walls, touching everything it meets. It reminds me that nothing escapes your reach. Every hidden thing is seen, not to be shamed, but to be restored. You are not asking me to be flawless. You are asking me to be open. You want the truth, not perfection, because you can transform truth into freedom. You can take the raw honesty of my heart and turn it into worship. So I stand before you, unguarded, unmasked, undone, and I say, have your way in me. Take what has been broken and make it whole. Take what has been silent and teach it to sing again. Take what has been heavy and make it light. I give you the burden of pretending, and I receive the blessing of being real. I give you my sorrow, and I receive your comfort. I give you my control, and I receive your peace. Father, this surrender is not weakness, is strength in its truest form. It is trusting that I am safe even when I cannot see the outcome. It is believing that what feels like loss is actually the beginning of healing. It is knowing that your hands are steady, even when mine tremble. As the day unfolds, Let this honesty remain in me like steady light. Let every thought, every word, every choice be filtered through this renewed heart. Let me walk forward lighter, freer, quieter inside. And as I move through this world, let others see not the weight I carried, but the grace that carried me. Father, as the morning continues to unfold, I stand before you with the quiet surrender that began to bloom in the last prayer. My heart feels lighter, my mind clearer, yet I know there are places in life where my strength cannot reach. I have laid down the burdens I carried. But now, Father, I ask for something more than release. I ask for your divine hand to move where mine cannot. I have seen how surrender opens the door, but it is your power that brings transformation. So I come not in demand, but in trust, asking you to step into the spaces that remain untouched by human effort and breathe life into them. Father, there are things that time alone will not heal. There are doors that effort alone will not open. There are hearts, including my own, that no amount of reasoning can repair. That is why I call upon you now. I am not seeking signs or spectacle. I am seeking your presence to intervene in quiet, unmistakable ways. I believe you still move mountains, not always by shifting the ground, but by shifting hearts. I believe you still part seas, not always in front of us, but within us, making a way where there was none. I believe you still perform miracles, not to impress, but to restore, and so I lift my voice in faith, asking for your divine interruption in the story I thought was already written. You see the areas where I have struggled, where my prayers have felt unanswered, where my hope has thinned with waiting. You know the nights I have wrestled with questions that have no clear reply. Father, come into those moments now. Bring clarity where confusion has lingered. Bring calm where chaos has settled. Bring order where disorder has reigned. I cannot do it by willpower or logic. I can only open the door for your spirit to enter. When you move, even the smallest act becomes sacred. When you speak, even silence turns into promise. Father, I invite your intervention in every part of my life that still aches. Step into the relationships that feel distant. Restore tenderness where misunderstanding has built walls. Enter the spaces of work and purpose where frustration has dimmed joy. Touch my health, my thoughts, my emotions, my future. Let your presence saturate what I cannot fix. I am done trying to rearrange broken pieces on my own. You are the one who makes all things new, not by replacing them, but by redeeming them. I think of how Paul and Silas sang in the prison at midnight, and the chains fell, the walls trembled, and freedom came. I think of how Jesus walked into storms and spoke peace until the winds obeyed. I think of how your hand guided Jacob's struggle into blessing, how you turned despair into destiny. These are not just ancient stories. They are blueprints for faith. You are still the same Father who rescues, restores, and redeems. You are still the God who enters impossible places and writes endings that human reason could never conceive. So I ask now, Father, for the same grace to see beyond what my eyes can measure. Give me courage to pray not just for comfort, but for change. Give me faith to believe that what looks delayed is actually designed, that what feels denied may be divine redirection. Let your timing govern my hope. Let your wisdom lead my steps. When you withhold something, remind me it is never punishment, but protection. When you give, teach me to receive with humility. When you move slowly, teach me to trust that speed has never been the measure of power. Father, I know your intervention is not always loud. Sometimes it comes as an idea whispered in stillness, a door that opens unexpectedly, a peace that replaces panic without explanation. Help me to notice these movements. Help me to celebrate the small miracles that appear in ordinary hours. Let gratitude become my language, even before the breakthrough arrives. I do not want to be the kind of believer who only praises after deliverance. I want to praise in the waiting, knowing you are already at work. As I pray, I can almost feel something shifting inside me. The fear that once dictated my prayers is giving way to confidence. I no longer ask with desperation, but with expectation. You are not reluctant to bless. You are waiting for faith to align with your will. You are not distant, evaluating me from afar. You are near, leaning in, ready to move the moment I let go of control. So I let go again. Father, I release my need to direct how you should act. I surrender my timeline, my formulas, my understanding. I simply say, have your way, in your way. I know that when you intervene, it may not always look like rescue. Sometimes your mercy appears as redirection, sometimes as pruning, sometimes as waiting longer than I want. But every form of your movement is love. Every delay hides a lesson. Every closed door shields something fragile until it is ready to be born. Teach me to see that even what feels unanswered is often answered differently. Teach me to trust that the story you are writing through me is wiser than the one I would write for myself. The morning is now fully awake. Light fills every corner, yet I still feel the sacred hush that began in darkness. It reminds me that divine intervention does not always announce itself with thunder. Sometimes it comes quietly, like light entering through an open window. Sometimes it is as gentle as the thought that says, "You will be okay." Sometimes it is as powerful as realizing the thing I feared most has already lost its hold. In these moments, I see that you have never stopped moving. I simply needed stillness to notice. Father, I open my eyes to the day ahead, believing you are already there. Whatever waits for me, opportunity or obstacle, I meet it with the certainty that you go before me. You will make a way where I cannot see one. You will bring beauty from the broken ground. You will turn tears into testimony. Let this day carry the fragrance of your intervention. Let every interaction be shaped by the awareness that you are working behind the visible. Let the rhythm of your grace guide my steps. And when my faith begins to tremble again, remind me of this moment, the quiet plea, the calm assurance, the invisible yet undeniable presence of your power. Remind me that calling upon you is never in vain. Remind me that no prayer goes unheard, no tear unnoticed, no act of trust forgotten. You are the God who moves mountains with whispers, who builds futures from ashes, who breathes life where there was none. Father, let today be marked by the evidence of your hand. Let your fingerprints be seen on every outcome. Every conversation, every choice. Let my life bear witness to what happens when human effort meets divine intervention. I will wait, I will watch, and I will believe that even now, the miracle has already begun. Father, as I stand in the fullness of morning, I can still feel the echo of my last prayer lingering in the air. You have begun to move, gently yet powerfully, in ways my eyes cannot always see. The weight once pressed against my heart now feels different. Lighter, softened by trust. And now, Father, I sense that you are calling me not only to witness your intervention, but to receive something deeper, an outpouring, an anointing that refreshes what has grown dry within me. I can feel the quiet invitation, not to strive, not to chase, but to open myself and let your spirit pour like morning oil over the worn places of my soul. The dawn has a fragrance today, subtle yet holy, as if the earth itself has been anointed. I imagine this oil descending softly from heaven, drop by drop, touching what needs healing, saturating what has been empty, restoring what has been forgotten. I close my eyes, Father, and lift my hands, not to grasp but to receive. Let your anointing find me here. Let it seep into my thoughts, my emotions, my memories. Let it reach the hidden parts I rarely show the world. I am ready for something that cannot be manufactured, only received. I am ready for this dawn-poured oil to make all things new. Father, there are parts of me that have gone untouched for too long, places where hope used to live but grew silent. Under disappointment. I ask you to touch those places first. Let your oil move through every corner where dreams have faded. Let it soften what became hardened by fear. Let it breathe tenderness where pain taught me to be numb. I do not want to live with a guarded heart anymore. I want to live with a heart that feels again, believes again, loves without restraint again. Pour. Father, let your spirit move freely until every dry field within me becomes green again. As your oil begins to flow, I feel warmth spreading inside, like the slow awakening of sunlight across the earth. It moves without rush but with certainty, transforming ordinary ground into sacred soil. This is not emotion. It is encounter. It is the holy meeting between weakness and grace. The oil carries peace, but not a fragile peace that depends on quiet surroundings. It carries the kind of peace that stills the storm within. It carries joy, not the temporary kind that fades with circumstances, but the deep, unwavering joy that comes from knowing I am yours. Father, I understand now that this oil is not given for comfort alone. It comes with purpose. It marks those who are willing to be vessels of your love. It prepares the heart to serve, the hands to bless, the voice to speak life. It empowers me not to escape the world, but to move through it carrying light. Let this anointing not rest only upon me. Let it flow through me, reaching others who stand in their own silence, waiting for hope to return. Let my presence become evidence of yours. The oil touches not only my spirit but my thoughts. It rewrites the way I see everything. The same situations that once filled me with anxiety now appear different under this light. They are no longer obstacles. They are opportunities for grace to reveal itself. This morning I understand that transformation is not about changing every circumstance, but about receiving a new lens through which to view them. The oil changes perspective. It teaches me to find beauty in what is becoming. Even when the process is slow, it teaches me to see purpose in what once felt pointless. It teaches me that healing is not just the absence of pain, but the presence of meaning. Father, as I let this oil flow, I realize how much you desire to fill what I thought was unworthy. You never turn away from emptiness. You fill it. You never reject brokenness. You restore it. And the more I release my need to be perfect, the freer your anointing flows. It runs over every insecurity, every false identity, every whisper of inadequacy. It covers them all until what remains is not shame but strength, not striving but stillness. I can feel it marking me from the inside out, a quiet reminder that I belong to you, that I carry something holy, even the ordinary rhythm of my days. This oil carries memory. To the memory of every time you have been faithful. It brings to mind the moments you carried me when I thought I would fall, the doors you opened when I had stopped knocking, the love you sent through people I least expected. Every drop tells a story of your goodness. Every drop whispers that the same God who sustained me before will sustain me again. The oil is not only renewal, it is remembrance, and remembrance births gratitude. So I thank you, Father, not only for what you will do, but for what you have already done. I thank you for the unseen ways you have preserved me. I thank you for every night you turned into dawn, every loss that became a lesson, every unanswered prayer that protected me from what I could not see. Gratitude is the vessel that catches the oil. The more I give thanks, the more freely it flows. Gratitude keeps the heart soft, the spirit receptive, the soul awake. As I breathe, I imagine the oil now flowing beyond me into my surroundings, into the paths I will walk today, into the words I will speak, and the people I will meet. Let it rest upon my home, bringing harmony. Let it rest upon my work, bringing excellence. Let it rest upon my relationships, bringing grace wherever I go. Let traces of this morning's anointing remain, quiet but powerful, like the scent of dawn lingering long after sunrise. Father, if this oil could be seen, I think it would shimmer like liquid light, covering not only my skin, but everything my life touches. Yet even unseen, it transforms everything it meets. It teaches me to carry peace into chaos, hope into fear, gentleness into conflict. It reminds me that I do not walk into the world unarmed, but anointed with patience, compassion, and courage born from your spirit. Father, let this dawn-poured oil continue to flow as I step into this day. Let it not fade with time or circumstance. Let it remain as a living current within me, a quiet pulse of your presence. And when the world grows loud and I begin to forget, let the fragrance of this anointing call me back to this sacred hour, back to this stillness, back to you. Father, as I rest in the quiet fragrance of the anointing you poured in the dawn, my heart begins to stir with a deeper knowing. The oil that touched me is still flowing, unseen but alive, and it begins to move toward the locked places of my life, the unseen prisons I have quietly learned to live with. Father, I can feel you inviting me to believe that the same power that heals also sets free. It is not enough to be comforted. You want me to be liberated. So I come to you now, not with the gentle stillness of before, but with the fierce expectancy of one who knows that midnight and morning belong to you. I think of those hours when faith feels weakest, when shadows seem thicker than hope, when my mind replays every failure and my spirit feels trapped behind invisible bars. There have been nights when I sang in the dark, but did not believe my song would reach heaven. Yet you remind me, Father, that praise is never wasted. Even at midnight, it echoes through the unseen. Even when whispered through tears, it becomes a weapon of light. So here in this early morning, I lift again the song that never truly died within me. Let it rise, not as a performance, but as defiance against despair. Let it reach every corner of my life where freedom is overdue. Father, you know where the chains are. Some are made of old fears that pretend to protect, but only confine. Some are formed by regret, links forged from words I cannot unsay and choices I cannot undo. Some chains are subtle, made of comfort that keeps me small, or comparison that steals my joy. Whatever their shape, you see them clearly. You see how they have shaped my posture, how they have limited my reach, how they have kept me walking in circles. But you did not create me to live confined. You created me to move, to rise, to walk through open doors. And so I bring these chains to you now, not as trophies of failure, but as invitations for your power to be revealed. You, Lord, are not intimidated by captivity. You do not negotiate with darkness. You command it to release. You do not study locks. You speak and they shatter. You do not need perfect conditions to perform deliverance. You need only faith willing to whisper yes. I offer you that yes right now. Even if it trembles, even if it is small, I offer it anyway. Let your power meet it and multiply it. Let your authority move through it like thunder in quiet places. Let every chain that has called itself permanent begin to break. I remember the story of Paul and Silas, imprisoned in the heart of night. They did not wait for light to appear before praising. They praised until light came to meet them. They did not pray for escape. They prayed until the walls could no longer hold them. Father, I want that kind of faith, not loud but steady, not dramatic but unyielding, a faith that chooses to sing when the outcome is unclear, a faith that believes you still open prison doors not only in stories but in lives like mine. So let my praise rise like theirs did. Let it shake what has been stagnant. Let it rattle what has refused to move. Let it cause every false identity to crumble, every inner barrier to fall. I am not a prisoner of fear, not a hostage of the past, not a slave to shame. I am your child, marked by grace, called by name. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the grave lives in me, and that means no darkness can define my destiny. I will no longer live as though chains have the final word. Father, where there are locked doors, speak them open, not by my effort, but by your word. Doors to purpose that seemed sealed by rejection. Doors to peace that worry has guarded too long. Doors to creativity that fear once silenced, open them now. Let the hinges of limitation come undone. Let the sound of your freedom echo through my days. And as each door opens, give me the courage to step through. Even if the path beyond is unfamiliar, sometimes freedom feels like uncertainty. But I will not confuse newness with danger. I will walk forward with you. The dawn outside begins to widen, soft light spilling through every opening, touching what was hidden just moments ago. I realize that this is how you move slowly at first, then suddenly all at once. The chains fall not with spectacle, but with quiet authority. The doors open not with noise, but with peace. It is not a miracle of sound, but of stillness. I feel that stillness now, the moment after breakthrough when everything feels lighter, but also holy, fragile, sacred. You have done what only you could do. You have made freedom feel familiar again. Father, let this freedom not be fleeting. Let it become the new rhythm of my life. Teach me how to walk without the weight that once defined me. Teach me to recognize when fear tries to forge new chains, disguised as caution. Teach me to stay open to your leading, to trust your voice when you say move, to rest when you say wait. Let every step I take be marked with the confidence of one who has been delivered, not by pride, but by gratitude. And as I walk into this day, help me to see the imprisoned hearts around me, the ones smiling on the outside, but trapped within. Give me compassion to reach for them, not with judgment, but with the same mercy that reached for me. Let my life tell the story that freedom is possible, that walls do not stand forever, that even the longest night will eventually meet the morning. Father, I thank you for the soundless miracles that happen between midnight and daybreak. I thank you for the way chains fall in silence, for the way doors open without force, for the way peace settles where panic once lived. I know that what you begin in the night, you complete in the light. I will not fear the darkness anymore. It is simply the place where you prepare the dawn. And as I step forward, free and unbound, I will carry the memory of this hour, the sound of chains breaking, the whisper of doors opening, the quiet certainty that you are always near. Father, I come to you again in this sacred hush of morning, where freedom has begun to settle across my soul like a new garment. The doors that once felt sealed have opened. The chains that clung in silence have fallen. And yet, as I stand in this newly lit space, I can feel something deeper stirring, something unfinished within me, not bound anymore, but not fully whole either. I sense, Father, that you are not only calling me out of what held me, but into something greater still. This is not just a release. It is a refining. This is not just about leaving behind captivity, but about stepping into transformation. And that path, I know now, may lead through the wrestle. I remember Jacob, alone in the night, wrestling not with an enemy, but with you. He would not let go until he received the blessing. It was not a fight to escape, but a desperate longing to be changed. I feel that same hunger now, not to return to what was, not just to celebrate deliverance, but to emerge new, touched, renamed, marked by you. The old version of me cannot carry the future you are preparing. Something must shift. Something must break open inside so that something sacred can rise. Father, I bring to you the places where I still struggle, not because I lack faith, but because I want more of you. I bring my questions, not as rebellion, but as a cry for clarity. I bring my resistance, not in pride, but in honesty. I have trusted you in silence, praised you through storms, but now I need you to touch me in a way that changes me. I am tired of returning to old patterns, of carrying identities that no longer fit, of performing strength when you long for surrender. I do not want to be almost healed, almost free, almost whole. I want to walk differently. So if I must wrestle, let it be here with you. If I must struggle through my own layers, my past fears, my present doubts, then let it be in your presence. You are the only one who can hold me through the breaking and still call me blessed. I do not want comfort without growth. I want truth, even when it confronts me. I want transformation, even if it comes through the H of letting go. Father, in this sacred wrestle, I am laying down what I thought I needed. I am loosening my grip on expectations that were never mine to carry. I am surrendering my timelines, my definitions of success, my unspoken assumptions about what blessing should look like. I let them go, one by one, so that I can take hold of what you are truly offering. It may not be what I imagined, but it will be real. It will be rooted. It will be lasting. In the wrestle, I am learning that blessing is not always loud. It does not always feel like celebration. Sometimes, it feels like fire, the kind that refines, not destroys. Sometimes, it feels like being stripped bare of everything false. But within that naked honesty, you place something eternal. You give new names to what the world tried to label. You rename shame into sonship, fear into courage, striving into rest. You touch what is dislocated, not to punish, but to heal. You leave a mark not to wound, but to remind. Father, leave that mark on me. Let it be the evidence that I encountered you in the hidden place. Let it be the scar that speaks of grace, not failure. Let it be the limp that tells the world I no longer walk in my own strength. I want to walk as one who has seen you face to face in the darkness and lived to carry light. I can feel the resistance softening inside. I no longer need to win the fight. I only want to stay in the embrace. I am not wrestling against you. I am wrestling toward you. I am pressing in, not because I doubt, but because I believe there is more. More love, more clarity, more peace, more purpose. And I know now that the blessing comes not through escape, but through endurance. So teach me to remain. Father, teach me to stay in the tension long enough to be shaped by it. Teach me not to run from what stretches me. Teach me that the discomfort is not danger, but divine invitation. You are not punishing me. You are preparing me. You are unmaking what was never meant to last, so that what is eternal can take root. The sun outside is higher now, its light stronger, clearer, more direct. It feels like a reflection of what is happening inside. I am not who I was when this morning began. I am not fully who I will become. But something has shifted. I feel steadier. Even in the not knowing, I feel anchored, not in certainty, but in surrender. I no longer need every answer to trust that you are at work. Father, let this inner change become visible in how I walk through this day. Let it show in my posture, my words, my patience, my choices. Let the fruit of this wrestle be gentleness, not hardness. Let the strength I carry be quiet, not boastful. Let others sense not my struggle, but your peace. And if I am still limping, let that limp remind me of the night you met me, held me, changed me. I do not regret the struggle. I see now that it brought me closer to you than peace ever could. It taught me how to hold on when everything said to let go. It taught me that even when I feel at my weakest, you are not repelled. You are drawn to the honest, the desperate, the ones who say, I will not let go until you bless me. Dear Heavenly Father, bless me here, not with things that fade, but with things that last. Bless me with wisdom, with discernment, with unwavering love for you. Bless me with eyes that see past surface and ears that hear what heaven is whispering. Bless me with peace that surpasses understanding, with joy that does not depend on outcome, with faith that does not flinch in the face of silence. Let this be the hour I remember as the turning point, not because the struggle ended, but because something deeper began. As I walk forward, I carry the blessing with humility. I carry it like a new name, a new lens, a new weight that is not burdensome but holy. I will walk differently now, not because I am stronger, but because I am surrendered. The wrestle was not a detour. It was the path, and now I follow it, not in fear, but in faith. Father, as I sit in the calm after the wrestle, I sense you drawing me gently into a quieter place, not to struggle, but to walk. The dawn has now fully unfolded, not with drama, but with assurance. The warmth on my skin reminds me that transformation does not always happen through storms. Sometimes it comes through quiet obedience. After wrestling with you in the darkness, I now feel you inviting me into something different, into rhythm, into intimacy, into walking in the footsteps of your Son, who rose before the world stirred and sought you in stillness. Father, this morning I want to follow Jesus into those early hours, not for performance, not for discipline alone, but for nearness. The scriptures tell us that while it was still dark, Jesus withdrew to a solitary place to pray. He could have waited for the crowd, for the light, for the noise of day, but he chose you first, and in that hidden place, he found clarity for the day ahead, strength for the path, peace that carried him into every encounter. I want that too. Not just knowledge of you, but closeness. Not only faith in you, but fellowship with you. So I rise again, not out of duty, but desire. I come to the quiet, not because I am required, but because I am welcomed. This still hour is not a task. It is a meeting. I come not to ask first, but to be with you. I come not to speak only, but to listen. Let me learn how to begin my days in the pattern Jesus set, not running into the world unanchored, but stepping into it already held. Father, I confess that many mornings I have hurried past you. I have reached for my phone before reaching for your presence. I have carried burdens into my day that might have been lifted had I only paused to let you carry them first. I have planned, acted, and worried before I ever stopped to ask what you were saying. But today, I want to walk differently. I want to learn the holy habit of beginning with you, not just occasionally, but always. You do not ask for perfection. You ask for proximity. You are not measuring my worth by how early I rise, but you are inviting me into the sacred benefits of seeking you before anything else. In the pre-dawn, distractions fall silent. The heart softens. Heaven feels nearer, and my soul, still unshaped by the noise of the day, becomes like soft clay in your hands. Father, shape me here. I bring you the untouched canvas of this day. I lay before you my plans, my intentions, my expectations. I ask that you breathe on them, not to erase, but to align. Let every action that follows this moment be guided by what you whisper now. What would you have me see differently? Where would you have me go slowly instead of fast? Who would you have me notice, speak to, bless? What should I let go of before it even begins? These are the questions I want to ask before the sun climbs too high. Father, let your voice be the first voice I recognize today. Speak into the spaces that feel uncertain. Reveal what matters and what can wait. Teach me to honor stillness, to value solitude, not as a retreat from life, but as preparation for it. When Jesus stepped from his solitary place, he walked into chaos with calm. He met crowds with compassion. He faced rejection with resolve. That strength was not born in the crowd. It was born in communion. Let me receive the same kind of strength here, in this early space with you. You know what this day will require. You know the conversations I will have, the decisions I will face, the temptations that will come quietly. Equip me now, not with the armor of self-defense, but with the confidence that comes from being known and loved by you. Let my tone be softened by this encounter. Let my presence carry the residue of your peace. Let my responses be slower, more thoughtful, because I have already heard your voice and has quieted the noise inside me. Father, help me to protect this space, not as a duty, but as a lifeline. When the demands of life press in, when schedules overflow, when others need what I cannot give, remind me that I am no help to them without first being anchored in you. Teach me that I am not the answer you are, and I am at my best when I begin with you. I ask not for more time, but for the grace to use it well. I ask not for fewer responsibilities, but for deeper awareness of your presence within them. Let me carry this early hour like a seed in my heart, allowing its peace to grow through every part of the day. Let it remind me, even in the busiest moments, that I am not alone, not abandoned, not without help. I have already met with you, and you go with me into every space I enter. Father, if I ever forget the power of early prayer, remind me of this moment. Remind me of the calm that filled the room, of the clarity that settled over my heart, of the sense that I was exactly where I needed to be. Let this become a rhythm that shapes my days, not rigid, but consistent, not forced, but faithful. You are not asking for hours. You are asking for first. Let me give it gladly. As the morning continues to rise and the world begins to move, I remain here just a little longer, letting the simplicity of this moment wash over me. There is no pressure here, no agenda, just presence. You are not hurrying me away. You are not impatient. You simply remain open and welcoming, the same way you were with Jesus in every lonely place. If he needed you in the quiet, how much more do I? If he withdrew to be filled, how much more should I pause to be restored? Father, let today unfold from this place. Let it not be a day I run into blindly, but one I step into with intention, because I have already found you. Let every step reflect the peace I have received. Let every word echo the stillness we shared. Let every task, no matter how small, be touched by the sacredness of starting with you. And when tomorrow comes, may my heart long for this again, not because it is required, but because it has become the place where I remember who I am and whose I am, before anything else tries to tell me. Father, as I remain in the quiet residue of this morning as stillness, I can feel something settling deeper. The calm that entered when I followed Jesus into the solitude of pre-dawn has not faded, it has thickened, almost like oil, soaking further into places that once resisted rest. But I know now this stillness is not meant to simply soothe. You are not only calling me into intimacy. Father, you are calling me into power. There is something about this hour that carries weight, and I sense you preparing me not just to be held, but to rise in holy authority. I have heard the words, "Before the yoke shall be destroyed," because of the anointing, but today, they do not feel like a distant verse. They feel alive. They speak directly into my atmosphere, into the places I have tried to manage instead of confront, into the patterns I have adapted to instead of surrendering. I can feel your spirit pressing gently, but firmly on the areas I have grown accustomed to carrying, as though they were mine to hold forever. But they are not. These invisible weights, these tight bindings around the soul, were never meant to stay. And now, by the authority of your presence, they are being broken. Father, I bring before you the silent pressures I have worn like second skin. I name the inner vows I made to survive those quiet agreements with fear, those habits of hiding, those reflexes of self-protection. I bring the weariness that has no name, the mental heaviness I have grown used to, the spiritual fatigue that feels noble because it comes from serving, but still drains like a slow leak. I bring all of it, not for comfort only, but for confrontation, because this is not just the hour of quiet, it is the hour of deliverance. And I need the anointing that breaks, not just covers. Father, let your anointing descend like fire wrapped in oil, gentle, but consuming. Let it reach the root of what has burdened me. You see where tension has turned into identity. You see where disappointment hardened into distance. You see the places where old pain has become the lens through which I view new days. You see it all, and you do not flinch. You move toward the heavy things, not away. You do not ask me to carry them longer. You ask me to let them go into your power. I do not want to adjust to bondage. I do not want to become comfortable in dysfunction. I do not want to decorate the prison you are ready to demolish. So I bring every yoke to you now, visible or hidden, emotional or spiritual, the burden of always being strong, the pressure to perform, the belief that I must earn what you freely give, the voice that whispers I am not enough, the fear that if I rest, everything will fall apart. These yokes do not belong to me. Let them be destroyed under the weight of your anointing. Your oil does not soothe dysfunction, it breaks cycles. It does not just encourage through pressure, it dismantles it. Father, I do not ask for temporary relief. I ask for permanent freedom. I ask for transformation, not inspiration. I ask for the kind of touch that realigns what years of striving twisted. Let this be the hour that my soul remembers was never meant to carry what only heaven can handle. Let this be the moment that patterns break, chains fall, and residue lifts. I can feel something shifting, even now, not loudly, but completely. You are lifting burdens I did not realize I was still holding. I breathe deeper. My posture straightens. My spirit begins to rise, not from motivation, but because weight is leaving. I sense you restoring clarity where heaviness once clouded my vision. I see how the yoke tried to define me, how it convinced me I would always live under its pressure, but you are rewriting that story now. You are declaring something new over me. I hear the word release. I feel it move through me like a current. You are releasing me from the old responsibilities I was never meant to carry. You are releasing me from shame I internalized as truth. You are releasing me from spiritual fatigue disguised as maturity. And in its place, you are giving rest, not the kind that comes from absence of effort, but the kind that comes from alignment. Father, this anointing is not only breaking things off me, it is preparing me to carry something better. I am not being emptied to remain hollow. I am being cleared so that your spirit can fill every part. Let this oil mark me for what is ahead. Let it become the seal that reminds me I am chosen, not chained. I am called, not confined. I am equipped, not disqualified. And everything that has bowed my head in defeat is now being replaced with the oil of joy, of purpose, holy confidence. As I stand in this awareness, I ask that you continue to show me the difference between a burden and an assignment. Teach me not to pick up what you did not hand me. Train my spirit to recognize false weights. Let discernment increase in me, not only to detect what is harmful, but to protect what is holy. I want to steward this freedom, not squander it. I want to walk in the anointing, not just visit it. Father, let this anointing not be contained to my spirit alone. Let it spill into the atmosphere I carry. Let it rest on my words, turning conversations into healing. Let it settle on my presence, turning rooms into peace. Let it go before me into meetings, decisions, and interruptions. Let it be the invisible signature of heaven over everything my life touches today. I pray this same yoke-breaking anointing for those I love, for those still carrying what they do not know how to name, for those smiling with shoulders that are silently collapsing, for those convincing themselves they have no choice but to keep going under unbearable pressure. Let the oil touch them. Father, let the chains fall where my prayers reach. Let them feel the shift even before they understand it. Let freedom ripple from this quiet hour into households, into workplaces, into generations. This anointing is not a reward for perfection. It is a gift of grace. It is the evidence of your nearness. It is the gentle, powerful proof that you still destroy yokes. Not because I am strong, but because you are good. It is not earned, and it cannot be faked. It is holy, real, and available, and I receive it fully. Father, let this be the day I walk unburdened. Let this be the moment I refuse to pick back up what you have broken off. Let this be the hour I remember not what I carried, but who carried me. Let this anointing rest on me like a quiet fire, burning away the unnecessary, igniting what is eternal. I move forward not in heaviness, but in holy lightness, not in fear, but in fresh oil, not in striving, but in the freedom you so lovingly and powerfully gave. Father, even now, as I sit quietly in the wake of the oil that has broken so many silent yokes, I feel the stillness stretching wider around me, not as emptiness, but as space made holy. This space you have cleared is not meant to be filled with striving. It is not a place for plans or pressure or performance. It is a sanctuary for grace, and I hear it clearly now. More than ever before, you are not demanding more strength from me. You are offering me more of yourself. Grace is not a concept to me today. Father, it is the air I am breathing, the way you lift what I can name, the way you soften what I thought would remain rigid, the way you meet me not at the top of my strength, but at the bottom of my letting go. You are not watching to see how well I carry things. You are watching for the moment I let you carry me. There is no badge of honor in being self-sufficient. You never asked me to prove myself worthy. You only asked me to come. And in this moment, I surrender the part of me that still believes I have to do more to deserve your nearness. I quiet that voice that whispers I should be further along, that I should feel stronger by now, that I should know better. I quiet that old rhythm that wants to rise again and push me forward without peace. Because this morning I choose to be carried, not rushed, not judged, not measured, but gently held in the hands of the one who never grows tired. I remember the days, Father, when I thought grace was something I reached after repentance, like a finish line. But now I know grace is not the end. Grace is the beginning. Grace is the only reason I got out of bed today. Grace is the only reason my mind is still intact. Grace is the reason I can feel again after feeling numb. And I hold that grace close now, like a blanket in the cold. Not because I deserve it, but because you delight in giving it. You do not push me toward perfection. You pull me into presence, into yours, into the quiet warmth of love that never rolls its eyes when I falter, into the steady rhythm of a mercy that does not run out at sunrise. You do not grow impatient with my pace. You walk beside me even when I am crawling. You are not waiting for me to catch up to your expectations. You are already beside me, lifting the weight I thought I had to carry alone. So, Father, I release the shame of needing help. I release the guilt of not having it all together. I release the lie that says I must fix myself before I can come close. I come as I am, because grace is not intimidated by mess. It is drawn to it. It is the balm that softens the ache. It is the hand that steadies the trembling. It is the whisper that says, "You are still mine," even when I have forgotten how to pray with eloquence. And in this grace, something changes. Not in the circumstances yet, but in me. My breathing slows, my thoughts loosen, my shoulders settle. This is what it means to be known, not as a task to be fixed, but as a soul to be loved. You know me in ways no one else does. You see the threads unraveling before I notice the tear. And still, you move toward me, never in haste, always in kindness. I do not want to run anymore, not even in my mind. I do not want to chase control or answers. I want to sit in this grace until I no longer doubt its reality, until I stop apologizing for being human, until I believe, deep in my marrow, that you are not disappointed in me. You are present with me, and that is enough. Let this chapter of the morning be the chapter of release, of laying down the invisible rules I have imposed on myself, of laying down the pace that left no room for joy, of laying down the voice of criticism that mimics my own, but never reflects yours. I let go the pressure to always be okay. I let go of the fear that rest is laziness. I let go of the impulse to explain my weakness, because grace is not something I have to justify. It is something I have to receive. I open my hands, not to offer, but to allow. I open my heart, not to prove, but to be filled. I open my past, not to wallow, but to watch you rewrite the story through the lens of compassion. Because you never look at my scars with disgust. You see them as evidence that I made it to this moment, and that is grace. Father, remind me that grace is not only for the days I fall apart. It is for the days I rise, unsure, but still moving forward. It is for the hours I feel joy but wonder if it will last. It is for the moments when I love deeply but fear loss. It is for the mornings I pray with clarity and the ones I sit in silence. Grace is not performance-based. It is presence-filled. And today, I choose to live inside it, not outside observing. Let grace inform my decisions today. Let it speak louder than pressure. Let it slow me when my mind races. Let it guide my tone, so that I speak with compassion instead of critique. Let it hold me accountable, not through shame, but through the reminder that I am already loved. I want my life to echo the grace I have received, not just for my sake, but for others. Let them feel it in me. Let them taste it through me. Even in my imperfection, your grace is working. Even in my silence, your grace is speaking. Even when I do not feel worthy, your grace declares that I am yours, that I belong, that I have never once been forgotten. And for that, I rest not in accomplishment, in assurance. So, Father, carry me in grace today, not to avoid difficulty, but to walk through it unburdened. Let my spirit be soft even in hard places. Let my pace be holy even when things are urgent. Let my soul be steady even when the world feels unstable. Grace is not passive, it is powerful, and it is mine because you gave it freely. As I close this moment, I do not move on from grace, I move with it. I carry it like a quiet flame, lit by love and fueled by mercy. This is not the end of my need. It is the beginning of deeper reliance, and I welcome it all without fear, because you are here, and that changes everything. Father, as I rest in the gentle awareness of grace that has been carrying me since the last prayer, I feel my heart leaning into a deeper quiet. The weight once sat at the center of my chest has shifted, replaced by a soft steadiness I do not have to create. Father, it is clear now that grace is not only a gift to be received, but a space to inhabit. And from within that space, another gift begins to rise: your peace. Not a fragile calm that depends on silence, but a living presence that can reorder chaos from the inside out. Father, the world beyond this room is already awake. Cars moving, phones buzzing, tasks calling. My own thoughts begin to pull at me, urging me to hurry, to plan, to handle. But here, before I step into the noise, I choose to anchor myself in your peace. This is not an escape, it is preparation, because true peace is not hiding from life. It is carrying stillness into the storm. It is the quiet strength to remain whole in a fractured world. I bring before you the noise that has tried to creep into my heart, the small anxieties that pile like pebbles until they feel like a wall, the unfinished conversations, the tasks waiting for my attention, the uncertainties I cannot solve. Father, I name them here, not to rehearse them, but to release them. Let your peace spread like water across these restless places, settling the dust, softening the edges, teaching my soul a slower rhythm. Your peace, Father, is not passive. It moves. It enters a room like a soft wind and rearranges everything without force. It untangles what felt knotted. It calms what once trembled. It speaks order into the disordered. It does not require explanations or strategies. It simply is like light entering darkness. I have felt moments of this before. A deep breath in the middle of panic, a sudden calm when the news was bad, a sense of being held when everything felt unstable. But today, I want more than moments. I want this peace to become my environment. Father, I invite your peace into my mind first, into the patterns of worry that run ahead of reality, into the habits of overthinking that wear me thin, into the fear of not doing enough, not being enough, not having enough. Let it quiet the loud inner critic. Let it smooth the sharp edges of self-doubt. Let it bring clarity where confusion has camped too long. I invite your peace into my body too, into the tension in my shoulders, the racing of my pulse, the shallow way I sometimes breathe when stress rises. Teach me to breathe deeply, not as a technique, but as a recognition of your presence. Teach my body to remember that it is safe, that you are near, that I do not have to brace for impact when I am held by grace. I invite your peace into my relationships, into conversations that feel delicate, into misunderstandings that have lingered, into the small distances that form when business replaces connection. Let your peace go ahead of my words today. Let it color my tone, slow my reactions, open my ears to hear before I speak. Let me carry an atmosphere of calm that invites others to breathe easier too. Father, you promised a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that stands guard over heart and mind. I picture it now, not as a wall but as a presence, surrounding me like light, shielding me from panic, intercepting lies before they land. This is not a peace that ignores reality. It is a peace that reframes it. It allows me to see the same circumstances differently, not through fear, but through trust, not as a threat, but as a field where your faithfulness will appear. Teach me to return to this peace throughout the day, not just here in the quiet. Teach me to pause in small moments before a reply, before a decision, before a thought spirals, and to breathe your name, to let peace settle me again. Let this become a habit stronger than worry, a reflex deeper than fear. I do not ask for a life without storms. Father, I ask for a heart unshaken within them. I ask for the kind of calm that cannot be stolen, the kind of inner order that makes outer chaos lose its grip, the kind of quiet that is not silence, but presence, the presence of you, steady and sure. Father, let this peace also become strength, not aggression, not control, but a rootedness that gives me courage, a calm voice in the midst of tension, a steady hand when others tremble, a patient heart in a hurried world. Let your peace be the ground under my feet when circumstances shift, the anchor in my soul when tides rise, the gentle fire in my chest that keeps me kind when frustration knocks. This peace is not only for me. Let it spill outward. Let it fill the spaces I enter today, the office, the street, the kitchen, the call, the silence. Let it travel with my words like a fragrance. Let it soften hard hearts, invite weary minds to rest, remind someone that stability is possible, not because life has stopped being hard, but because there is a deeper reality beneath the noise. Father, I thank you for this gift even as it forms in me now. I can feel my heartbeat slowing, my thoughts clearing, my posture relaxing. This is not an illusion. It is the kingdom arriving quietly, like leaven working through dough, like morning light spreading across a floor. It does not shout, but it transforms. And as I sit here, I realize that I am already different from who I was when I woke. Father, let this peace remain as I step out of this moment. Let it be stronger than habit, deeper than circumstance, steadier than my mood. Let it become not just an experience, but an identity. Let it be the way I walk, the way I speak, the way I move through the world. And when chaos tries to return, let this peace rise like a shield, reminding me again and again that I am held, ordered, and steady in you. Father, even as the peace you placed within me continues to hum beneath the surface, I find myself stepping into another layer of this journey, one where peace does not eliminate questions, but becomes the quiet companion as I face the unknown. The path ahead, though still veiled in mystery, no longer feels like a threat. It has become an invitation to trust you more fully, more deeply, without demanding to see everything clearly before I take the next step. Father, trusting you is not always natural to me. My mind prefers maps and guarantees. I want to know the outcomes before I risk. I want the assurance that all will go well before I commit. But you rarely offer that kind of clarity. And maybe that is not a lack but a grace. Because if I had all the answers, I might never need to lean on your voice. So instead of control, you offer presence. Instead of explanations, you offer yourself. And that is slowly becoming enough. I bring to you today all the places where I feel unsure, the questions I cannot yet answer, the decisions that wait for clarity, the changes I did not expect, the longings I did not know how to fulfill. I bring the fragile spaces in my faith that still want proof. I bring the part of me that hesitates to release full control. I do not hide them from you. I place them honestly in your hands, not to be shamed but to be shaped. You do not require perfection from me, only surrender. And so I offer even my doubt as a doorway for trust to grow. Father, when I look back, I see how many times you have already led me through the fog. So much of what once scared me has now become testimony. What felt uncertain before became holy ground. What felt like detour became destiny. So I ask you now to help me remember. Help me rehearse the evidence of your faithfulness. Let past deliverance become the soil where new trust takes root. Let my memory be a well I return when fear tries to whisper lies again. I do not ask for full visibility. I ask for vision, the kind that sees with the eyes of the heart, the kind that walks forward even when logic hesitates, the kind that anchors itself not in outcomes, but in your unchanging character. Father, you are not withholding clarity to confuse me, but to draw me closer. You know that intimacy is forged in the unknown, that real trust is not built in certainty, but in the sacred tension of not knowing, yet still choosing to believe. So I will choose today to walk not by sight, but by trust. I will take the next right step, even if I cannot see the full path. I will release my grip on needing all the answers, and instead cling to the one who never changes. I will replace worry with worship, replace striving with surrender, replace panic with prayer. I will remind my heart that you are already in the days I cannot yet see, preparing a way where there seems to be none. Let this trust not be brittle, easily broken by delay or difficulty. Let it be flexible, able to bend without snapping. Let it be resilient, growing stronger with each test. Let it be the kind of trust that does not collapse under pressure, but deepens when pressed. The kind that can still sing in the dark. The kind that waits without losing hope. The kind that believes goodness is still coming, even when the landscape has not changed. Father, teach me to trust not just in outcomes, but in your timing. Let me not confuse silence with absence. Let me believe that delay is not denial. Let me hold space for miracles even when the waiting feels long. Let me find joy not just in the arrival, but in the process, because trust is not only the bridge to breakthrough, it is the breakthrough itself. It is the quiet miracle of a heart that leans without fear, that rests even while reaching, that surrenders even without full understanding. I bring to you also the people I love who are walking through uncertainty. I pray trust over them too. For those waiting for healing, for provision, for direction, wrap them in assurance. Let them feel seen even in the dark. Let them sense your presence even in the questions. Let their faith not fail, but be refined. Let them know that you are the God who meets us not just at the finish line, but in every unsure step along the way. Today, Father, I will look for you in the small things, in a quiet nudge, in a moment of peace I did not create, in the way the light falls through the window, in the words of someone who unknowingly speaks life to my questions. I will consider these things evidence. I will gather them like stones to mark the places you have been faithful. And when I am tempted to fear again, I will return to them and remember. Trust does not always feel like triumph. Sometimes it feels like trembling hands still choosing to reach forward. But even that, in your eyes, is enough. You count it as faith. You call it beautiful. And so I will not wait until I feel strong to believe. I will trust you from this fragile place, because I know you meet me here. You do not shame me for needing to be held. You do not grow impatient when my questions linger. You simply stay, and your staying is the answer I did not know I needed most. Father, as this morning unfolds and the hours stretch ahead, let trust be my posture. Let it shape how I respond, how I wait, how I speak, how I dream. Let it form the lens through which I see the world today, not as a place of chaos, but as a field of opportunity for grace to bloom. Let it turn hesitation into movement, fear into focus, questions into communion. Let it draw me closer to your heartbeat, where even silence speaks love. And so I walk forward, not with every answer in hand, but with your hand in mine. And that is more than enough for today. Father, you who meet me in the spaces between moments, the silent places beneath my thoughts, the gentle hush before the day truly begins, I come to you again, as my trust deepens with each breath and each step forward. I feel you drawing me into something quieter, something deeper, a kind of strength that does not shout or strive, but simply stands. Father, there is a stillness I am learning to welcome, not the absence of noise alone, but a sacred kind of silence where striving ceases and your nearness grows undeniable. In that stillness, you speak not through thunder or fire, but through whispers. I hear you best not when I run, but when I remain. And this morning, I do not rush. I sit with you, knowing that in this posture of stillness, you are building something strong inside me, something the world cannot shake. There is power, I now see, in choosing to be still when everything around me demands reaction, when storms rise, when news spreads fear, when people around me move in panic. Your spirit teaches me to pause, to breathe, to anchor, to stay in that inner place where you remain unchanged, to hear not the chaos, but the consistency of your voice, to stop measuring my strength by how fast I move or how much I fix, and instead let it be defined by how deeply I stay rooted in you. Father, this kind of stillness is not weakness. It is resilience clothed in gentleness. It is courage disguised as quiet. It is surrender that does not collapse, but holds firm. I bring to you the places where I still confuse motion with progress, where I think I must do more to be more. I bring my addiction to activity, to proving, to earning. I lay it all down now. I want to be strong in the way you define strength, a stillness that rests in being loved, not in being loud. There have been days, Father, when the quiet scared me, when stillness felt like emptiness, when silence echoed too much of my own insecurity. But now I see the truth. You fill the silence. You are not found in the rush of my schedule, but in the hush of my spirit. In this stillness, I find clarity. I find peace. I find myself becoming more whole, more open, more like who I was always meant to be. Stillness does not empty me, it reveals that I was never alone. Even in the spaces where answers are not yet formed, I feel your strength sustaining me. I may not have resolution for every situation, but I have revelation that you are present, and that is enough to calm the ache, to slow the breath, to bring peace even in uncertainty. In this moment, I do not need to fix, explain, or plan. I only need to remain aware of you, aware of grace, aware that in this stillness, strength is rising. Father, teach me to live from this still place, not just visit it. Let stillness be the rhythm under every task. Let it shape how I speak, how I wait, how I love. Let it prevent me from reacting out of fear, from answering before I have listened, from judging before I have understood. Let this stillness be my teacher, reminding me that not everything urgent is important, and not everything loud is true. Help me to move from this quiet center, anchored in who you are, unshaken by noise or pressure. I lift to you today the moments when stillness is most difficult, when I face deadlines, decisions, or disruptions. Be my calm then. Let stillness not be something I lose in the chaos, but something I carry through it, a quiet shield, a steady rhythm, a grounding force. Remind me that I can walk with urgency yet not anxiety, that I can act with focus but not fear, that I can engage the world without letting it uproot my peace. Father, I also pray for those around me who cannot find stillness, for the anxious, the grieving, the restless souls who lie awake long after midnight. Be their stillness too. Enter their unrest with quiet power. Replace their noise with whispers of truth. Let them feel you beside them, not demanding but simply staying. Let them know they do not have to earn peace, it is already offered. Let them rest, knowing they are held. There is a strength in this stillness that the world does not teach. A strength that listens more than it speaks, that waits more than it rushes, that trusts more than it explains. This strength does not make headlines, but it heals hearts. It may not change circumstances immediately, but it changes me, and that is where true power begins, not in what I can move, but in what cannot move me. So today, Father, I will not fear stillness. I will not run from the quiet or try to fill it. I will welcome it as a holy space, a breathing room for my soul. I will return to it again and again, even in small moments, a pause before I speak, a deep breath before I begin, a whispered prayer between tasks. In these spaces, you will meet me. In these pauses, I will remember who I am and whose I am. Let this stillness shape not just my mornings, but my mindset. Let it become the lens through which I see delay not as defeat, but as development. Let it teach me that when nothing seems to move, something is still growing, that the quiet seasons are not wasted, that the roots are deepening beneath the surface, and one day, fruit will come not rushed, not forced, but formed in the secret place where stillness reigned. Father, as the world spins fast and demands more, I will choose this different rhythm. I will carry this sacred stillness into each moment, not as a way to escape, but as a way to engage differently. Fully present, fully grounded, fully yours. Because in the stillness, I have found my strength, not strength that roars, but strength that remains. And that, today, is more than enough. Father, as I return to this sacred morning space, I bring with me the quiet that settled deeply in my spirit from yesterday. The stillness you taught me to embrace is not gone, it lingers like a soft current, running beneath the surface of everything I do. It has become a quiet strength within me. And now, from that still ground, I long to walk further into peace, not the fleeting kind that depends on perfect circumstances, but the peace that flows steady, even in the face of storms. Father, your peace is not passive. It is not simply the absence of conflict. It is an active force, a calming presence that disarms fear and quiets the voices of unrest inside me. It comes when I least expect it, like a hush falling gently over chaos, or like sunlight breaking through a foggy dawn. I feel it even now. As I breathe and open my heart to you again, there is no striving in your presence, only surrender. There is no pressure to prove, only the invitation to receive. I have come to understand that your peace is not something I chase. It is something I allow. It waits for me when I slow down, when I release control, when I trust you more than I trust my own conclusions. This morning, I do not ask for you to remove all my challenges. I simply ask that you stay near, and that your peace, which passes understanding, would guard my heart and mind as I walk through them. There are places inside me where worry still tries to live, quiet corners of tension, old fears that whisper when I am tired, moments when doubt creeps in uninvited. I give you those spaces now. I name them silently before you, and I let your peace move in like gentle rain. Wash away the fear, settle the dust, fill what has been hollowed by anxiety with the fullness of calm assurance. Let this peace anchor me, not just for today, but for every step forward. Father, your peace is a gift, but it also requires practice. Teach me how to protect it. Help me to recognize what steals at a hurried pace. Unresolved anger, the constant reach for control, the clutter of comparison. Help me to let go quickly, to forgive freely, to breathe deeply. Help me to say no when I need margin, and yes when my soul is ready. Show me how to live in a way that invites peace, not just visits it. I have noticed, too, that your peace is often carried in the small things, in the steady rhythm of my breath, in the warmth of morning light, in the sound of leaves stirring, in the taste of something simple and good. It finds me in smiles, in shared silence, in moments that do not need explanation. I want to pay more attention to those quiet messengers. I want to live more present, more aware of the sacred in the ordinary, because your peace often wears ordinary clothes. Father, I ask also for peace in my relationships. Where tension exists, let humility rise. Where misunderstanding has built walls, let compassion open doors. Let my words be soft when they need to heal and strong when they need to protect. Let me not contribute to noise and division, but be a bearer of stillness in every room I enter, not with perfection, but with presence, not with answers, but with a heart that listens more than it speaks. Let my life reflect what it means to be anchored in peace. Let others feel safe near me, not because I have fixed everything, but because I am no longer frantic. Let my peace be contagious, not by preaching, but by simply living rested, rooted, and ready to love without agenda. Let them see that your peace is not distant or reserved for a few, but available now, for anyone willing to sit still and receive it. There are many things I cannot control today. Father, I cannot control other people's choices, the direction of the world, or the surprises that may wait around each corner. But I can choose how I carry my soul through it all. I can choose peace, again and again, moment by moment. I can let it be the lens through which I see everything else, not denying reality, but walking through it differently, not untouched by pain, but unshaken by it. Sometimes, peace will come easily. Other times, it will come slowly, but I will keep returning to you, Father, because every time I do, I remember that peace is not a place I find, but a person I trust. You are the stillness in the noise, the safety in the storm, the assurance in the unknown. You are the unchanging center in a spinning world, and as long as I stay close to you, I am home. So let peace guide my thoughts today. Let it speak before I do. Let it shape my decisions, my reactions, my prayers. Let it be a gentle boundary when anxiety tries to creep in. Let it be the steady hand that leads me when I do not know what to say or where to go. Let it be my atmosphere, my resting place, and my witness. I lift to you now the people I love, those who carry burdens they do not speak aloud, those who feel overwhelmed, those who smile while silently aching. Let your peace reach them. Let it soften their tension, fill their empty spaces, and remind them they are not alone. And if I can be part of that reminder, use me. Let my presence be peace in motion. And for the moments ahead, whether they bring ease or challenge, joy or grief, I will carry this stillness within me like a candle that cannot be blown out. No matter the winds that rise, I will remain lit, not by effort, but by trust, because you are with me, and you are enough. And where you are, peace is never far behind. Father, you have seen the winds that toss me from side to side. From the very beginning of this journey, I have poured out to you all that has broken, bruised, and weighed down my spirit. And now, standing in this part of the morning, I feel a shift, It is not that the storms have all passed, but that something within me has begun to settle. Something you planted deep is stirring, quiet and real. The storm is still outside, but inside, there is this hush, this whisper of peace that does not shout, but simply is. It is so strange. Father, how pain can still exist, yet peace makes room beside it. My heart remembers how often I thought peace would only come when the battle ended. But now I see that your peace does not wait for perfect conditions. It walks with me even in disorder. It does not erase what hurts, but it makes me able to breathe in the middle of it. And this, I know now, is no ordinary peace. It is the kind that makes no sense unless you are the one giving it. The kind that shields my heart from drowning in fear. The kind that steadies my breath when the world gives me nothing steady to hold. When my mind races with what-ifs, your peace holds the edges together. When voices around me say I am not enough, your peace reminds me of who you say I am. When the pressure grows and my energy fades, you wrap your calm around my trembling. There is no formula here. No performance. Just this honest moment between us, where I stop pretending I have control and simply rest in the stillness you provide. I have tried chasing peace through people and plans. I have tried numbing pain to feel peace, but it never worked. The moment I invited you into the middle of my unrest, something changed. Not everything around me, but something inside me. I am not running now. I am not hiding. I am letting you in. And maybe for the first time, peace is not the absence of chaos. Peace is the presence of you. Father, even now, I feel the world calling again, with its deadlines and doubts, its noise and its never-ending demands. But I am learning to carry stillness inside me, because I carry you. I am learning that I do not have to wait for silence to hear your voice. You are the voice in the silence, and you are the silence that rises within me when the noise is too loud. You are teaching me that peace does not have to look like escape. It can look like courage to stand in the storm and not be moved. Sometimes I picture myself standing in a field of wind, everything bending and breaking around me, and yet I remain, not because I am strong, but because you are my shelter. You are not asking me to escape this life. You are asking me to let you walk with me in it. And when I do, chaos becomes background, and you become the focus. That is where I find rest. Even in this moment, there are thoughts trying to invade. Doubts, anxieties, regrets, but I choose to redirect them back to you. Not by force, not with fear, but with a quiet choice to believe that what you have spoken is more powerful than what I feel. I may not always know how to fight these battles, but I know how to be still. And that stillness is not weakness. It is faith in motion. It is trust wrapped in quiet. It is hope that breathes without having to scream. I remember now the verse that says you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. That is what I want. Not peace based on outcomes, but peace anchored in trust. I want to wake each day knowing that whatever waits for me, you got here first. You are already in my tomorrow. You are already calming the waters I have not stepped into yet. So, I lay down the weight of needing to control things. I lay down the lie that I have to do everything alone. I lay down the fear that says, I am not allowed to feel peace until everything is fixed. I lay down the restless part of me that thinks being busy is the same as being faithful. And in this laying down, I find something rising. A softness. A steadiness. A peace that does not rush. I breathe slower now. I notice the morning light stretching across the sky. I feel the warmth return to my chest where cold fear used to live. I am not fighting for peace anymore. I am receiving it. Because you are peace, and you do not withhold yourself from those who seek you. So if today brings news I do not expect, I will remain in peace. If people disappoint me, I will remain in peace. If progress is slower than I hoped, I will remain in peace. If confusion tries to return, I will return to peace. Because peace is not just a gift, it is a posture. It is the evidence of your nearness. This morning, Father, I will not strive. I will not panic. I will not let fear speak louder than your voice. I will walk with peace in my chest and softness in my steps. I will move through this day knowing that I carry something unshakable, not because I earned it, but because you are generous. The world will look at me and not understand, but I will understand. I will know that even in the whirlwind, there is calm. And even when things are unclear, you are not. As the sun continues to rise, and the stillness of morning begins to blend into the sound of life awakening, I hold this peace like a flame. Gentle, quiet, but real. And as long as you are with me, I know it will not go out. I will carry it into everything ahead, as a reminder, as a promise, as a sign that I am held by the one who commands both the storm and the silence. Father, as the dawn stretches further across the sky and the warmth of your peace remains steady inside me, I feel you leading me into something deeper than calm. Peace has softened my heart, but now I sense you shaping that softness into courage. Not the loud courage of grand gestures, but the quiet courage of steady steps taken in trust. The courage to move forward without seeing the whole road, to speak life when silence feels safer, to keep loving even when it costs. Father, I realize now how the chapters before have been preparing me for this. Grace taught me to surrender. Stillness taught me to listen. Peace taught me to breathe in the middle of chaos. And now courage rises as the fruit of those roots. It is not born from my own strength, but from yours. It is the outworking of peace, not just a feeling, but a force that moves me gently, steadily, beyond the boundaries of fear. This morning, I bring you the places where I hesitate, the dreams I have postponed because they seem too heavy, the conversations I have avoided because they felt too hard, the steps I have been afraid to take because I did not want to fail. I lay them open before you now, not with shame, but with honesty. You already see them, and you are not disappointed. You are calling me to step into them differently, not with panic, but with the courage that flows from your presence. I have learned, Father, that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move while fear still lingers, anchored in something deeper. Courage is trust in action. It is peace in motion. It is hope walking even when the night still feels long. And so I ask you to form that courage in me today, not as a burst that fades, but as a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat that will not quit. Let courage shape my words. Father, let me speak truth with gentleness. Let me bless where I have been silent. Let me stand for what matters without crushing others in my conviction. Let me choose honesty over hiding, even when it costs comfort. Let me listen deeply before I speak, but not shrink back from speaking when you nudge me forward. Let my courage be tender, not harsh, brave, but not hard. Let courage shape my actions too. The small decisions I make without thinking, the quiet ways I show up when no one notices, the times I choose integrity when compromise seems easier, the moments I risk kindness in a world that often rewards cynicism. Let courage become my default posture, not because I am naturally bold, but because I am deeply rooted in your peace. Father, I also bring you the fears I still hold, the subtle ones that disguise themselves as caution, the old ones that whisper familiar lies. Fear of rejection, fear of losing what I have built, fear of failing in front of others, fear of being misunderstood. I do not want these fears to guide me anymore. I want your courage to rise in their place. I want to feel the tremble of fear and still take the next step, because you are with me. I think of how many times you have told your people, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you." Those words echo now like a melody in my chest. They are not a suggestion. They are a promise. They do not mean nothing hard will happen. They mean nothing will happen outside your presence. And that is enough to make courage possible even here. Even now, even for me. Father, let my courage not be self-serving but outward flowing. Let it help me love people who are hard to love. Let it push me toward reconciliation where distance has grown. Let it lead me to offer forgiveness where bitterness has been comfortable. Let it help me take initiative to heal rather than wait for someone else. Let it move me to serve, to risk, to give, to show up, to stay when staying is harder than leaving. Let courage also shape how I see myself, not through the lens of past failures, but through the identity you give me, not as someone disqualified, but as someone called, not as someone barely surviving, but as someone equipped. Let me wake each morning believing that you have placed enough inside me for the day ahead, not because of who I am, but because of who you are. Father, give me eyes to recognize courage in others too. Help me to call it out, to affirm it, to strengthen it, to cheer on quiet bravery wherever it shows up, in a friend choosing healing, in a stranger showing kindness, in a child daring to dream. Let my presence become a safe place where courage grows, not a place where fear hides. And when the day tests me, when an unexpected challenge rises, when someone's words cut deep, when my plans fall apart, let courage hold me steady, not as a mask, but as a living force born of peace. Let me breathe, remember who I belong to, and take the next right step without losing my center. Let courage flow like a river fed by grace, carrying me forward gently but powerfully. Father, thank you for preparing me for this. Thank you that courage does not require me to be fearless, only faithful. Thank you that every trembling step is still a step, and every step taken with you becomes holy ground. Thank you that I do not have to manufacture bravery. I simply have to stay close enough to hear you say, I am with you. As the morning brightens and life begins to pull at me again, I hold this courage like a quiet flame beside the peace in my chest. I step into the day not with swagger, but with steadiness, not with noise, but with quiet confidence, not with an iron heart, but with a tender one, strengthened by your presence. And though the road ahead may twist and turn, I will walk it not alone, not in fear, but in the courage that rises from peace, from trust, from you. Dear Father, even as courage continues to stir within me from the stillness you planted and the peace you nurtured, I now find myself facing a deeper invitation not to do, but to trust. And not just to trust in moments filled with clarity or encouragement, but to trust when you are quiet, to trust in the silence. Father, the silence can be unnerving. I have come to you with prayers, with longings, with tears poured out like rain, and there are days I do not hear anything in return, no clear sign, no immediate answer, no whispered confirmation, only silence. And yet, something inside me begins to understand that silence is not absence. It is not abandonment. It is something more sacred, a still space where trust is no longer theoretical but real. I look back on the moments where I demanded an immediate answer, when my heart grew restless because I feared that your silence meant you were far. But now, with the courage you have been forming in me, I am learning to rest even when I cannot see. I am learning to believe that your love for me is not proven by constant noise, but by your eternal presence, which remains even in quiet. Father, I think about how seeds grow underground, out of sight. They do not shout or sing or wave their arms. They stretch in silence, break open in silence, rise toward light in silence. Perhaps this is what you are doing in me now, something wholly unfolding beyond what I can perceive. Maybe your silence is not withholding, but deep work in hidden soil. So I come to you today not asking you to break the silence, but to help me remain faithful in it, to walk with steady breath, to keep praying, not because I expect instant answers, but because conversation with you is life itself. Let my soul grow quiet without growing cold. Let me keep reaching for you not out of desperation, but out of love. Father, teach me to hear you in subtler ways, in the rise of morning light across the sky, in the breath I forgot I was holding, in the steady rhythm of my own heartbeat, in the kind words from someone who had no idea I needed them, in the peace that arrives without fanfare. Help me recognize that you are never truly silent. You are simply not always loud. Let my trust be shaped by surrender, not control. Help me not to twist your silence into a story that you have forgotten me. Instead, remind me that you are the same God who met Elijah in a whisper after the wind and fire passed. You are the God who held Joseph in prison when no one else remembered him. The God who waited 4 days to call Lazarus forth. The God who knows when to speak and when to let silence do its work. Help me to be still without panic, to wait without clenching, to rest without retreating. Let me become familiar with the space where mystery dwells, knowing that even when I do not understand, you are still writing goodness into the fabric of my days. Let trust become my breath, not forced but natural, a quiet knowing that my life is held. Father, I bring you the moments that feel unanswered, the longings that stretch across months and years, the healing that has not yet come, the relationship still frayed, the calling that has not clarified, the door that has stayed shut. I name them not with frustration, but with reverence. You know the timing. You know the shaping still required in me. I trust you, even when I cannot trace you. And Father, help me to stop treating silence like punishment. Let it become sacred space. Let me lean into it like I would lean into your shoulder. Let it become the soft room where my spirit lays down its heavy need to always understand. Let it be the hush before the miracle, the pause before the breakthrough, the quiet where you whisper things I can only hear when I stop trying to fill the air. I think of Jesus, how he often withdrew to lonely places to pray. Those were not loud moments. They were private, still, and yet they were where strength was renewed. Let my silence with you be that too, not an empty void, but a well, a place of deep draw, of spiritual recalibration. Let it remind me that our relationship is not built on noise, but on presence. So if this day brings no booming revelations or thunderous signs, I will not be discouraged. If you speak softly or not at all, I will still draw near, because you are not a God of performance. You are not required to impress me with displays. You are here. That is enough. I will trust the silence because I trust the one who holds it. Let me not rush through this space. Father, let me not despise the slow places. Let me not fill the waiting with anxious distractions. Let the silence refine me. Let it prune me. Let it purify my desires until what I long for is not just answers, but you, not just relief, but relationship, not just clarity, but closeness. Thank you for being a God who does not panic when I cannot hear you. Thank you for remaining constant when everything around me is shifting. Thank you that trust is not something I must conjure, but something you grow in me as I stay. Thank you that even in silence, you are shaping the kind of faith that walks without needing to always see. So I walk forward now, not in fear of silence, but in reverence of it. I breathe slowly. I take this still moment as a gift. I hold my questions without rushing them to conclusions. I let go of the need to have it all figured out. I choose trust. Deep, abiding, anchored trust. The kind of trust that lives not in answers, but in your presence. The kind of trust that hears nothing and still believes. Father, as I breathe into the sacred stillness you have taught me to trust, I feel something gently awakening in the quiet light. Not the kind that breaks across the horizon in dazzling glory, but the subtle light that stirs from within. The kind that has been buried beneath layers of fear, shame, doubt, and silence. It does not come with a shout. It rises softly, almost shyly, like dawn through the trees. But it is there. I sense it. and I no longer run from it. Father, this light is not new. It has always been there, placed by you when you formed me. It is the imprint of your image, the echo of your spirit, the spark you breathed into dust. And now, after surrendering to silence, after unclenching my grasp on needing answers, I realized that your light was never gone. It was simply waiting for room to expand. Help me today to honor this light, to stop hiding it beneath masks of performance or shadows of unworthiness. Help me believe that this light is not something I have to earn. It is not a reward for being good enough. It is a gift, a birthright, a reflection of the one who made me. And even when life tried to dim it, bury it, shame it, or steal it, you never stopped tending to it. Father, teach me to stop disqualifying myself from what you have already called holy. I have spent so long believing lies about who I am. I have whispered to myself words you never spoke. I have said I am not ready, not worthy, not capable. But you have looked at me in every season, in every broken moment, every wandering path, every tear-soaked night, and declared, "Still mine." Let me start this day not from a place of striving, but from a place of light. Let me move through my morning knowing that I carry something sacred, not because I feel perfect, but because I am yours. Not because everything is fixed, but because your light does not wait for perfection. It shines in the middle of the process. Father, help me protect this light. Not guard it with fear, but honor it with intention. Let me feed it with truth, with compassion, with stillness. Let me stop letting the harshness of the world tell me who I am. Let your voice be louder than criticism, comparison, or condemnation. Let your voice become the flame that steadies me, reminds me, holds me when I walk into spaces that try to dim me through discouragement, distraction, or disapproval. Help me stand taller, not with arrogance, but with clarity, with the steady knowing that I am not alone, and I am not without purpose. Your light in me is not for my glory, but for yours. Let it illuminate not just my path, but the hearts of those I meet. Father, forgive me for every time I tried to extinguish what you planted in me, for every moment I believed more in darkness than in the dawn, for the times I gave up on myself because others gave up on me, for the words I swallowed, the dreams I buried, the joy I resisted because I thought I was not enough. You never gave up. You kept the ember alive. Now I ask you to teach me how to live from this place. Show me how to be someone who carries light into hard places, not just with smiles or nice words, but with presence, with peace, with quiet courage. Let others feel safer, braver, lighter when they encounter me, not because I try harder, but because I carry you deeper. Let this light become a posture, not a performance. Let it be seen in how I forgive, how I pause before reacting, how I speak gently even when frustrated, how I hold space for others without needing to fix them. Let it be felt in how I show up, in my consistency, in my authenticity, in my humility. And Father, when I forget the light, when the day gets loud or heavy or fast, pull me back to this moment, to this truth, that I am not empty, I am not forgotten, I am not broken beyond repair. I carry your light. I am the lamp you refuse to snuff out. Even when the wick is low, I am the candle you shield from the wind. I am the soul you refuse to give up on. Thank you for never letting my darkness define me. Thank you for patiently revealing the glow underneath my grief. Thank you for seeing the flicker of hope when I saw only ashes. You are the God who calls light out of chaos, who speaks beauty over dust, who wraps shame in grace until it can breathe again. I step into this morning with a new posture, not timid, not prideful, but grounded, lit from within. I will not chase applause. I will not beg for permission. I will walk in quiet boldness, knowing you are the source of all that is good and radiant in me. Father, let this light be contagious. Let it soften hearts that have grown cold. Let it bring comfort to those who have forgotten how to hope. Let it make people curious about you, not because of my words, because of the way I carry peace, the way I remain soft in hard places, the way I refuse to be defined by wounds. This is not the light of perfection. It is the light of redemption. It flickers, but it does not fade. It bends, but it does not break. It grows slowly, but it does not stop. You are the keeper of this flame. You are the one who walks beside me as I carry it forward. So today, as the world begins to stir and the sun continues its slow ascent, I move with the light you have placed inside me. I trust it. I cherish it. I will not hide it. I will not shrink. I will live as someone who knows their worth comes not from the world, but from the one who called them light in the first place. Father, as the light within me grows steadier, I begin to realize that carrying it is not just about being seen, it is about being still enough to hear you. The more I walk in this quiet boldness, the more I recognize how easily the noise of the world still tries to blur your voice. So now I ask you to teach me again how to listen, not just with ears, but with heart and spirit wide open. Father, I have spent so many days rushing from moment to moment, filling the air with words and worries. Even in my prayers, I have often spoken more than I have listened. But this morning, I want to pause. I want to learn the rhythm of stillness again. I want to return to the gentle posture of a child who leans in to hear the whispers of love and wisdom from their father. Your voice is not always loud. It does not demand attention or force its way through my distractions. But it is steady. It is present. It waits patiently beneath the chaos, never competing with the clamor of fear or the chatter of doubt. And when I quiet myself, I begin to sense it like the hush before dawn, like the soft breath of wind through trees. Help me, Father, to stop measuring your presence by how dramatic it feels. Remind me that you often move most powerfully in the unseen, the subtle, the slow. Let me not confuse silence with absence. Let me not miss your leading because I was looking for a shout and you chose a whisper. In this space, I release the need to have all the answers. I lay down the weight of constant doing. I let go of trying to control every outcome. and instead, I become still so that I might hear the direction that comes not from fear or urgency, but from trust. Father, show me how to tune my heart to the frequencies of heaven, how to discern your nudges, your gentle corrections, your affirming nods, not just in prayer, but in conversation, in conflict, in rest, in work. Let me walk through this day with spiritual ears that are open to the quiet ways you speak through a phrase, repeated, a sudden peace, a door closing, a thought that brings clarity. There are voices all around me competing for my loyalty, voices of doubt, distraction, pressure, and noise. But only yours brings peace. Only yours brings life. Only yours reminds me of who I am without demanding that I prove it. So I choose today to reorient myself toward you, to step into stillness not as an escape, but as a return. And in this stillness, I hear it your invitation to deeper trust. Not the kind of trust that waits for every detail to be clear, but the kind that walks forward anyway, anchored in the knowledge that you are already ahead of me. Your voice does not lead with fear. It leads with peace. Father, I remember now the times you spoke, and I did not even realize it was you until much later, when the dust settled, when the pain eased, when the decision bore fruit. You were there. You had been speaking all along. It was not your silence that confused me, but my noise. So I ask you now, quiet the noise within me, not just the noise of my environment, but the inner monologue that spirals with anxiety, the rehearsals of what-ifs, the self-criticism that drowns out grace. Let your voice rise above it, not through volume, but through truth. Teach me, Father, how to wait in the quiet, not impatiently, but reverently, knowing that waiting is not wasted when is done in your presence. Let me sit with you without needing to fill the silence. Let me become comfortable with the space between words, the sacred gaps where transformation begins. Even now, I feel something shifting, not a thunderclap, but a settling, a stillness that wraps around me like a warm blanket in the cold. You are not far. You have never been far. You have simply been waiting for me to stop running, to stop filling, to stop speaking long enough to hear you say, I am here. Father, help me carry this listening posture into every part of my day. Let me not compartmentalize you to a morning moment, then rush back into the noise. Let me build a rhythm of inner quiet, a sanctuary that moves with me, where I can return in an instant and find you waiting. Let my responses today come from that place. Let my words be shaped by what I first heard in silence. Let my decisions be filtered through peace, not panic. Let me be slow to react and quick to listen, not just to others, but to you. And when I do not hear what I expect, let me trust that you are still speaking. Let me remember that sometimes your guidance is in the delay, in the pause, in the redirection. Let me not equate discomfort with disapproval. You are not punishing me with silence. You are inviting me to deeper listening. So, Father, tune my heart again. Strip away the layers of noise I have grown used to. Sharpen my awareness of your presence. Let me find you in the spaces between distractions, in the breaths between decisions, in the stillness between steps. Your voice is life. It revives dry bones. It breaks chains. It calms storms. And even when it comes like a whisper, it carries the full weight of heaven. I want to hear you clearly, not because I have earned it, but because I belong to you, because you delight in revealing yourself to those who listen. Let today be marked not by how much I do, but by how well I hear. Let your whispers lead me through everything, anchoring me when I feel lost, correcting me when I drift, and comforting me when I feel alone. I rise from this place not with volume, but with awareness. I walk into this day not with answers, but with attentiveness. I carry with me the sacred practice of listening, of leaning in, of hearing the heartbeat of heaven. And in that heartbeat, I remember who I am. I remember who you are. I remember that no matter how loud the world becomes, your voice still speaks peace over me. Father, now that my ears are open and my soul quieted to hear your voice, I find you gently drawing me toward a deeper place, the place where healing begins. Not the healing I once demanded on my terms or according to my timeline, but the kind that begins softly, steadily, like light touching the edges of something long hidden. I did not know that listening to you would bring me here, to this space where pain no longer needs to be avoided, but can finally be acknowledged and touched by grace. So, Father, I step forward, not boldly, but honestly. I bring what still aches. I bring what I have tried to cover with strength or silence. I bring what I have minimized to others, but never stopped feeling within. I bring the parts of me that flinch at the thought of exposure, yet long for comfort. I know now that healing is not a moment, it is a process, and you walk each step with me. You are not repelled by my wounds. You are not surprised by my brokenness. In fact, you already saw it long before I named it. And instead of turning away, you moved closer, like the gentle physician you are. You wait not to diagnose or condemn, but to sit with me in the rawness of my reality and remind me that I do not have to carry this alone. Father, I feel the weight of what I have endured, the losses I have not fully grieved, the betrayals I have tried to forget, the regrets that replay like shadows across my days, the unspoken fears that still tug at my confidence, and even the shame that clings quietly to the corners of my memory. I name them now, not to dwell in them, but to invite you into them. This is where I need you most, not in the polished parts of my life, but in the hidden chambers where I have wept without words, where I have questioned my worth, where I have doubted that joy could ever return. And yet, even here, your presence does not hesitate. Even here, your hands reach out with tenderness, not force. Father, teach me to trust your touch, to let you reopen what I sealed too quickly, to let you clean what I tried to ignore, to let you gently press where I have gone numb. It hurts sometimes to let healing begin, but I know now that it is a holy pain, a cleansing pain. You are not reopening my wounds to shame me. You are healing me from the inside out, with truth that pierces, then soothes. Help me release my timelines. I have wanted healing to look instant, complete, cinematic. But you are not working for spectacle. You are working for wholeness. And sometimes that means resting, waiting, allowing. Help me to be patient with what you are restoring, to stop measuring progress in days and instead measure it by peace. And when I am tempted to hide again, to put on strength as a mask, remind me that healing thrives in honesty, that you are not moved by performances, but by surrender. Let my healing begin not with declarations, but with letting go. Let it rise from stillness, from trust, from the small yes I say each time I come back to you with nothing but my real self. Father, ask not only for healing from what has happened, but also healing from what I have come to believe because of it. Heal the lie that I am not enough. Heal the fear that I am unlovable. Heal the thought that because something broke, I must be broken forever. Heal the habit of pushing others away. Heal the instinct to expect pain before I ever expect joy. Where bitterness tried to grow roots, plant something better, something true. Where disappointment has camped, let hope build a new home. Where fatigue has become normal, let energy rise like spring after a long winter. I do not ask to return to who I once was, but to become who I am in you, whole, aware, and free. I know you often heal through the hands of others, through words well-timed, through the quiet conviction that I am not forgotten. Help me notice the ways you are healing even now, through rest, through laughter I thought I would lost, through a breath that does not carry panic. Let me mark these small miracles as proof that you are near. And, Father, help me forgive, not to excuse or forget, but to release the grip that hurt has had on me. Let forgiveness be part of my healing, even if it takes time. Let it free my heart, not for anyone else's sake, but for my own freedom. I cannot be whole while I cling to anger. I cannot move forward with shackles of resentment. Break them gently, one link at a time. In this place of healing, I also ask you to begin restoring what was lost, not always in the same form, but in the way only you can. Where relationships have fractured, bring peace. Where opportunities have closed, open new paths. Where dreams have died, awaken purpose again. Not just any purpose, but one grounded in truth, in light, in love. Father, I see now that healing is not weakness, is strength in its truest form. It takes more courage to face pain than to run from it, more faith to let you work than to pretend I have it all together. So I choose courage today. I choose vulnerability. I choose to open the door again and let you in deeper. Let today be marked by this turning point, not a finish line, but a sacred beginning. Let this be the day I stopped pretending and started healing. Let this be the day I welcomed the full embrace of grace, not for who I will become, but for who I am right now, wounds and all. And as your healing continues to unfold, let it not stop with me. Let me become a vessel of healing for others. Let my honesty make space for someone else's hope. Let my journey be a bridge for someone still in the shadows. I do not want to hoard what you have given. I want to share it, pour it, live it. So, Father, take what is still fragile in me and make it fruitful. Take what is still tender and make it a testimony. Take what once brought tears and turn it into a wellspring of compassion. Let my healing story become part of the way you heal the world. Father, now that I have begun to embrace healing not as an event, but a journey, I find myself standing at the threshold of something deeper as wounds begin to close and peace starts to take root. A quiet but insistent question rises within me. Who am I now? Not who I was when I was broken. Not the version of me shaped by pain or fear, but the true me. The one you have always known, never stopped loving. I have spent so much time trying to be what others expected, or what I thought I had to be to survive. I have worn so many names not given by you, names like failure, not enough, too much, too late. They have clung to me like shadows, whispering over every decision, every relationship, every attempt at joy. And now I realize how deeply I have let them define me, how easily I have confused my experiences with my essence. But you, Father, you never called me by those names, even in the silence. Even when I did not hear it, you were speaking a better name over me. One rooted in your truth, not my past, one born from eternity. Not circumstance. And today, I want to hear that name. I want to shed every false label and lean into who I really am in you. So I come to you not to perform, not to prove, but to be still and listen. Tell me again who I am, not in the way the world defines worth, but in the language of heaven. Strip away the noise of comparison. Silence the inner critic I have mistaken for wisdom. Let your voice arise above every echo of shame. I want to be reintroduced to myself through your eyes. Father, show me the me you see, the one not bound by mistakes or defined by trauma, the one who carries your image not perfectly, but sincerely, the one whose scars have not diminished her beauty, but added to her story, the one who, even when she doubted, never lost your favor, the one you rejoiced over before she ever accomplished a single thing. I confess, it is hard to believe sometimes. It is hard to believe I am beloved when rejection still lingers in my memory. It is hard to believe I am chosen when I have spent so long trying to be accepted. It is hard to believe I am enough when I have heard so many voices say otherwise. But that is why I need your truth to be louder than my history. Let it sink in, Father, not just into my thoughts, but deep into my being. Let the truth of my identity become more than words I repeat, but a foundation I stand on. I want to walk differently, think differently, love differently, because I finally know who I am. Not someone to be fixed, but someone who has already been found. And as I lean into this discovery, remind me that I do not have to create my identity. I only have to receive it. It is not a task to complete, but a gift to embrace. You are not asking me to hustle for worth, only to return to the truth I have always carried, but often forgotten. I am yours. I am not what I have lost. I am not the sum of who left or who stayed. I am not my achievements or my failures. I am not my fears or my strengths. I am not what I do or what I feel. I am yours. That alone is enough. Father, Help me release the version of myself that was rooted in pain. The one who always needed to prove her worth. The one who said yes to avoid abandonment. The one who bent herself into forms she never fit just to be seen. I thank her for surviving, but I do not need her anymore. I want to live now from truth, not survival. Let me move from being reactive to being rooted. From pleasing people to pleasing you. From chasing approval to resting in identity. From shrinking to fit into others' expectations, to expanding into the fullness of who you made me to be. Father, teach me to hold my head high not in pride, but in confidence that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Teach me to speak with a voice no longer shaking from doubt, but steady with conviction. Teach me to walk into rooms not wondering if I belong, but knowing I carry light because you dwell within me. Let this chapter be the turning point. Let this be the place where I stop second-guessing and start standing firm, where I stop apologizing for existing and start stepping into my assignment, where I trade insecurity for identity, not just any identity, but the one shaped by your hands and breathed by your spirit. Father, I ask for clarity not only about who I am, but about who I am not. Help me release identities that were never mine to begin with, expectations that drained me, roles that caged me, lies that distorted me. I want to return to the original design, the one formed in love, marked by grace, and sustained by purpose. As I become more anchored in this truth, let it transform how I show up in the world. Let it inform the way I love others, not from scarcity, but from security. Let it redefine success not as applause, but as alignment. Let it change how I endure failure, not as disqualification, but as redirection. And when doubt comes, as it surely will, let it find no home in me. Let it find a soul too full of truth to entertain lies. Let it find a mind renewed by your word. Let it find a heart sealed in belonging. I will not be swayed by the opinions of others, because I am grounded in the declarations of my Father. I choose to believe that I am not an accident. I was not a mistake. I am not behind or too late. I am right where you are forming me, right where you are revealing me, right where I need to be to walk in who I truly am. So I rise this morning not to chase an identity, but to live from it, not to impress, but to express the love I have received, not to strive, but to shine. This is not performance. This is purpose. This is not pressure. This is peace. Father, thank you for naming me before the world ever knew my face, for loving me when I did not even know how to love myself, for holding my identity safe, even when I tried to abandon it. Today, I receive the truth. I am yours. That is my beginning, my middle, and my end. That is my name. Father, I wake with a quiet awareness that something greater is unfolding beneath the surface of all my days. As I continue this sacred journey with you, the clarity that has been whispering through every chapter now begins to rise like morning mist giving way to the sun. I no longer wander in confusion, but stand in a space of quiet readiness. My soul begins to feel the weight and wonder of purpose, not as a duty to perform, but as a calling to embody. And I know this awareness did not arrive suddenly, but was slowly born from each cry, each surrender, each moment when I chose to trust you over my fear. Father, I look back on the wilderness I have walked through not as a punishment, but as a proving ground. You allowed the silence so I would learn how to listen. You permitted the emptiness so I could recognize the fullness that only you can bring. You let me wrestle with my doubts so my faith would have roots, not just wings. And now, I begin to hear the distinct hum of destiny within the stillness. It does not shout. It does not command. It simply invites. It whispers that there is a reason I woke up this morning. There is something heaven has breathed into my spirit that this world still needs. Father, I no longer pray merely for rescue. I now pray for alignment. Align my steps with what you had in mind when you formed me. Before the world had its first sunrise, you saw me. Before I took my first breath, you had numbered every hair on my head. You knew the exact mixture of fire and gentleness, courage and compassion that you wove into my being. And now I ask not to escape my life, but to step fully into it with eyes open and heart surrendered. Let my life echo something eternal, not simply through grand gestures or public accomplishments, but through daily faithfulness. Help me to show up where you have planted me, to listen before I speak, to act when you nudge me. Teach me that divine purpose is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is hidden in mundane faithfulness. Quiet mercy, or a kind word no one else will hear. And yet, you see it all. You honor what the world overlooks, and that makes every moment holy. Father, it humbles me to realize that your purpose for me is not something I must chase, but something I must become. It is not a path I must forge alone, but one you have already prepared. It is not dependent on my perfection, but on my willingness. So let me be willing, even when I feel unqualified. Let me say yes, even when I am unsure. Let me trust that the light will come as I keep walking. Reveal the gifts that lie dormant within me, the ones fear has buried and doubt has silenced. Wake them up. Father, let creativity return. Let compassion lead. Let courage rise. And even when I cannot see the entire path, help me to take the next step with integrity, knowing that obedience is never wasted. You use every seed of faith to birth something eternal. I ask for divine appointments, not for recognition, but for impact. Let me be in the right place, at the right time, for the right purpose. Let my words carry healing. Let my presence bring peace. Let others encounter you simply by encountering me. May I never forget that my purpose is not just about what I do, but about who I reflect. Father, teach me not to compare my purpose to another's. What you wrote for me is sacred and specific. Comparison only clouds the vision you have given me. Free me from envy, from striving, from the illusion that I must prove my worth. You already called me worthy. You already entrusted me with a divine assignment. So let me walk in it not with pride, but with quiet confidence that you go before me. May my work become worship. May my dreams become doors through which others find hope. May my life be a light, not because it is perfect, but because it is surrendered. Let me remember that success in your eyes looks different than the world's. It is not always loud. It is often soft, steady, hidden, and holy. And when I doubt the significance of my steps, remind me of your word that use the small things to confound the great, the weak to shame the strong, the unseen to move the seen. Remind me that purpose is not always loud. It is faithful. It does not always make headlines. It makes heaven rejoice. It does not demand applause. It draws your gaze. So let today be another day I walk with intention. Let every conversation be laced with your grace. Let every task, no matter how simple, carry eternal weight. Let my life declare what my lips sometimes cannot, that I belong to you, that I was created for this exact moment, and that every breath I take is a chance to glorify you. Father, thank you for not discarding me in the seasons when I doubted my value. Thank you for redeeming time I thought was wasted. Thank you for reminding me that nothing surrendered, ever lost in your hands. You repurpose even my pain. You recycle my failures into lessons and my brokenness into bridges. What the enemy meant for destruction, you have turned into destiny. So here I stand, still flawed, still growing, but deeply willing. I step into today not just with plans, but with purpose. I no longer ask just to survive. I ask to walk fully alive. Let your spirit lead. Let your voice be the compass. Let your truth be the anchor when everything else shifts. For I was made for this, not because of who I am, but because of who you are in me. Father, after walking in the awareness of purpose, I now find myself longing to see beyond the surface of my daily moments. There is a stirring within me that refuses to settle for the temporary. I sense you inviting me to live with eternity etched into the fabric of my thinking, not as a faraway dream, but as a present lens. And as I listen, I realize how easily I have been distracted by noise, urgency, and things that do not last. But you, Father, are always drawing my heart higher, deeper, beyond the veil of what I can touch or measure. Father, help me live today as someone who remembers that life is a vapor, and yet every breath carries weight. Let me not treat my hours as disposable. Let me not rush through conversations or overlook the quiet ways you show up. Remind me that eternity is not just later. It begins now. It begins in the way I look at others, in the patience I show when it would be easier to withdraw, in the way I choose to forgive instead of holding tightly to hurt. Eternity is here, stitched between the ordinary seconds that I used to think were small. Let me not be lulled into believing that comfort is the goal. Remind me, Father, that eternal things often grow in uncomfortable soil, that character is formed when no one sees, that joy often sprouts where sorrow once reigned, that peace does not mean an absence of struggle, but the presence of your spirit in the midst of it. Give me eyes to see how you use even the interruptions. Let me be faithful with what is in my hands, knowing you are weaving something larger than I understand. Father, I do not want to live numb. Wake me up again to the sacredness of this moment. Let me not waste the time you have given me. Let me not postpone love or delay grace. Let every word I speak today echo something more than myself. Let every step I take carry the weight of someone who knows where they are going. Even if the road is unclear, let my direction remain true. Toward you. Toward light. toward love that never fails. There are things I cannot see yet, people I will meet, moments that will change me, lessons that will stretch me, but you already stand on the other side of them. You do not live bound by time, and yet you step into it, patiently guiding my path. And so, Father, give me a heart that beats in rhythm with eternity. Help me weigh my choices not by comfort or popularity, but by impact. Will this matter 10 years from now? Will it matter in the light of forever? Teach me to ask better questions and listen for deeper answers. Let me hold loosely what is passing and cling tightly to what is lasting, not to status, not to applause, not to fleeting pleasure, but to truth, to integrity, to compassion that costs something. Let my life be a letter written, not ink, but in actions that point to you. Let me walk with gentleness, even in a world that celebrates noise. Let me choose stillness when hurry demands my attention. Let me see the beauty in what others overlook, for eternity often whispers rather than shouts. Father, when I feel the weight of time moving too fast, anchor me in your timelessness. Slow me down when I try to outrun grace. Remind me that your pace is not always fast, but it is always faithful. You are not in a rush, but you are never late. And when I feel behind or left out, help me remember that eternal impact is not measured in speed, but in surrender. It is not about doing more, but about being more fully present here, now, awake. Let me be generous with what cannot be repaid. Let me speak words that live longer than I do. Let me invest in people, not platforms. Let me build things that time cannot erode. Even if no one remembers my name, let them remember the way they felt seen, valued, loved. Let them remember a glimpse of you. Let them remember something eternal in how I showed up. And when the days feel long and the work feels hidden, remind me that no act of faithfulness is wasted, that you see every tear, every effort, every unseen gift poured out. You keep record not as a judge with a ledger, but as a father who delights in each act of love done in secret. You remember what the world forgets. You value what the world dismisses. And you promise that nothing surrendered to you will return void. Father, train my mind to focus not on what I lack, but on what lasts. Let me count success by faith, not by fame. Let me treasure peace over possessions, character over convenience, presence over performance. Let my conversations reflect that I believe there is more to this life than what I can hold in my hands. Let me speak of hope like it is real. Let me live as if heaven is not far off, but near, woven into the fabric of every sunrise, every kind act, every redeemed mistake. Even when I am weary, help me lift my head. Even when I am discouraged, help me sow seeds of light. Even when I do not see the outcome, help me trust that the story is not over. You are the author who sees the end from the beginning. You are the potter who shapes what others would discard. You are the keeper of time and the redeemer of moments I thought were meaningless. You are the one who brings eternity close enough to touch through daily obedience. So let this be the lens through which I move forward. Let this be the filter through which I see people not as interruptions, but as eternal souls. Let this be the compass that guides my decisions. If it draws me closer to love, if it reflects your heart, if it multiplies grace, then let me say yes even when it costs me something, especially when it costs me something. Because nothing worth building is ever easy, and everything eternal begins with a small act of faith. Let my day not be ordinary, not because of what happens, but because of how I choose to live it. Let eternity thread itself through each moment. Let it inform my values, my focus, my prayers. Let it turn small choices into sacred ones. And in the end, when the lights go down and the crowd disappears, let there be quiet joy in knowing I lived today not just for today, but for something far more enduring. Father, as I rise today in the quiet, after so many mornings of seeking you, I feel something deeper than routine. I feel a gentle trembling in my soul, a quiet reverence that comes not from striving, but from surrender. You have walked with me through each prayer, each pause, each whispered H of the heart. And now, in this moment, as another day begins to unfold, I am not the same as when I started. Something inside has shifted. There is more stillness where anxiety once lived. There is more clarity where confusion once clouded. There is more trust where doubt used to echo. It has not come suddenly, this change. It has come like the rising of the sun, quiet and steady, almost unnoticed until the whole sky begins to glow. And just like the dawn, your light has not demanded attention. It has simply shown up, day after day, touching the hidden corners of my heart until even the places I feared to name began to soften. Father, how gracious you are. You did not wait for me to have the perfect words. You simply waited for my willingness. And when I brought you fragments, you made something whole. I think now about all the mornings behind me. The ones I rushed through, the ones I resisted, the ones I wept through in silence, the ones where I felt nothing but still came anyway. Each of them was part of this sacred becoming, each one a seed, each one a thread you used to weave something lasting into the fabric of my spirit. There is beauty in the repetition. There is healing in the showing up. You have taught me to meet you in stillness, not performance, in presence, not perfection, and that has changed everything. Father, I feel you near, not just in this quiet space, but in the undercurrent of my thoughts, in the rhythm of my breath, in the courage that rises in me even when circumstances have not changed. I feel you in the unexpected grace that finds me in traffic, in the laughter I almost missed, in the peace that does not make sense. You are not reserved for mountaintop moments. You are here in the valley mornings, the ordinary hours, the everyday choices, and that has become the miracle. I no longer pray for escape. I pray for endurance. I no longer ask for clarity alone. I ask for wisdom to walk when things are unclear. I no longer chase the next big breakthrough. I want to be faithful in the small. I no longer ask you to remove every storm. I ask you to hold me steady through the wind. This is the gift of walking with you, not that life becomes easy, but that it becomes sacred. Not that I always understand, but that I no longer have to. And now, Father, as I walk forward, I do so with a heart marked by your voice, The world will still pull and shout and distract. But I have learned to recognize the quiet sound of truth. I will fall again. I will forget. I will get caught up in noise. But I will return, because you have built a home in my soul. And I know the way back to it, morning by morning. You have written your love in my memory, in my habits, in my choices. I no longer need to chase a sign. You are already here. Let this day unfold as it will. I do not need to control it. I only need to carry peace with me into it. Whether it brings laughter or labor, surprises or sorrow, I will breathe deeply and trust the one who goes before me. I will pay attention. I will notice the sunlight on leaves, the kindness of strangers, the strength I did not know I had. I will remember that this, too, is holy ground, not because it is easy, but because you are in it. And to those who have walked this prayerful path beside me, who have returned to listen and lift their hearts each morning, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your courage to keep showing up, even on weary days. Thank you for choosing stillness when the world offered noise. Thank you for bringing your faith, your longing, your honest heart to this quiet space. Your prayers have ripples far beyond what you can see. Your faithfulness is a light, not only for you but for others watching from afar, hoping it is possible to begin again. You are not alone in this journey. You are part of something unseen and beautiful. Each morning you choose to pray. You are planting something eternal. Every moment of surrender becomes a seed, and even if the harvest is not yet visible, it is coming. Do not be discouraged by the pace. God is never late. The dawn always follows the darkness, even if it arrives more slowly than we hoped. So keep going. Keep praying. Keep listening, even when the silence feels long. Keep choosing light, even when shadows linger. Keep returning to this place where your soul can breathe. There is strength in these quiet beginnings. There is power in these whispered prayers. There is healing in your persistence. And there is joy waiting just beyond the horizon. If these chapters have spoken to you, moved you, or simply kept you company on quiet mornings, I invite you to share your thoughts, your own prayers, your reflections. You never know how your words might be the encouragement someone else needs. Let this become more than a monologue. Let it become a conversation, a circle of souls choosing to believe that something sacred still happens in the stillness. If this prayer journey has blessed you, I gently invite you to support it. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new whisper of grace. Share these prayers with someone maybe walking through their own quiet storm. And above all, keep the rhythm of faith alive in your own life, one morning at a time, one breath at a time, one choice at a time. The morning light continues to rise. It spills slowly across the earth, warming the edges of rooftops, brushing softly against the leaves. A breeze stirs, barely visible, yet full of promise. The world wakes gently, not with a shout, but with a hush. And somewhere in the stillness, your soul remembers, this is not the end. This is another beginning.